Your roommate just took.
Hi.
Hello.
That
was some nice music.
Well, I do the it's like a reggae thing, and it's like been the same music for so long, like so many Saturdays and so many of our Tuesdays. So I was like, I'll pick something different. The children's playlists are always so fun. This royalty-free audio library. That was a rousing version of Skip to Malou. I did not know all the lyrics.
As long as you don't play Baby Shark.
Oh, God. I had ordered something off of eBay, like, it's been a year ago now. It was like it was one of those distributor, like, there's people on eBay that, like, they buy bulk items from distributors that are, like, stuff that should go to Walmart or Target, but it's out of season or whatever. And that
Yeah.
stuff is like either gets destroyed or sold at whatever. So you could sometimes find some cool stuff through those distributors. And last like Christmas time, I found this guy who was selling some miniature stuff, some miniverse stuff. So I bought the lot from him, and he's like, he asked me, like before he shipped, he's like, oh, what do you know, like, are you reselling these? Like, what are you doing? And then, I kind of told him, and then he's like, oh, cool. Well, he sends me all this other collectible stuff, and I'm like, I don't want this stuff. And he left me a note, and he's like, and I know it was about like just cultivating a customer because I bought from him before, but he sent me like some Bob's Burgers stuff, which I just put in the Goodwill pile, and then like a couple of other things. And one of the things was a baby shark, like plushie, that had a little music box inside of it that you push and it sings Baby Shark. So I terrorized my family with it for a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, this is like probably the Geneva Convention probably prohibits this. I remember the first time I know where I was the first time I heard Baby Shark. Because I was like, what in the HE double toothpicks is this? Like, this will make me crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a time that I have never been more appreciative for not having children. And like,
Wow.
thank goodness your child wasn't a part of that generation.
No, and in fact, he was like, you get rid of that thing or I'll get rid of you. And I was like, yeah. So the box was removed, a little music thing was removed, and it was smashed, I believe. So there was no chance of my continuing my my warfare, my Abu Ghraib style warfare on my family. Oh my goodness.
Do you have something there that you're working on?
I do, because my main project that I've been working on is kind of, I hate secret sewing. But
Secret sewing.
yeah, when people post things on Instagram and it's like, it's kind of performative because they're like, oh, all I've been working on is this secret sewing that I can't show you, so here's like 1 inch of it. And it's like, like, just post something else if you can't post the actual thing you're working on. But I am working on a project for sort of a Christmas present, and it's been, it's been I've been spending time on it. So I thought I would work on one of the other things that I just sort of always have on the side. And there's a company called Feral Notions, and she is doing this plastic canvas, like, purse. It is so cute. And so I've cut the plastic canvas pieces, and I have, like, all of this just random yarn that I'm trying to pick. And I'll just, stitch on it on the side. So I thought this would be a good Stitch and Glitch Day thing. I don't know if Robin's here, but Robin's a cross stitcher.
Robin is here.
Yeah, and so
She also appreciated your music.
Thanks, Robin. Hey, LJ. So I am just as bad at plastic canvas as I am at cross stitch, but because plastic canvas is bigger, I feel like I can manage. But what I'm gonna do, and it's probably not recommended, but I'm gonna mark some markings on the plastic canvas because this thing will be wonky and ugly if I do not. So anyway, that's my project. I probably won't get much done.
I am continuing on my little baby hexies. Oh my God, Mary.
Oh,
never
Marianne.
heard Baby Shark. Well, you know what? Save yourself and don't ever listen to it.
Save yourself.
Um,
yeah.
I might secondarily go up into my office. I have a new shelving unit up there to move some quilts off of the bed because the bed needs to be a bed.
Oh, that's right, because you've got guests coming soon.
Yep, I need the bed to be a bed. So I was going to do that today, but then like right before getting on, I've been feeling kind of like dizzy today.
Yeah, whatever is going around, there is something going around. Ordinarily I would have thought it was just allergies, except that my husband got sick. And when he's sick, it's like full-blown sickness, and you know how I hate to be this way, but you know how men are. When they get sick, they are real pains in the butt. And he's kind of almost had like a relapse, and I joked around saying like, I hope this isn't the tertiary fever. some kind of colonial era nonsense. But I've had these kind of like, I don't know, cold flu kind of things before where it's like you're sick for, you know, 3 or 4 days, you start to feel better and you're okay for a couple days, and then all of a sudden you're like feeling that malaise again. And I think he and I have both had that because, you know, I was sick last week. And it was never like I can't get out of bed sick. It was just like brain foggy, kind of headachy, sore throat, just kind of yuck. Like, it, you know, it wasn't anything like really super, super specific. Now, he had like all this congestion, so I never got that. So anyway, hopefully consumption. Yeah. Oh no, I've got consumption again. I got the tuberculosis.
Little bit of like typhoid or
I've just got a little touch of diphtheria this week. But yeah, I don't know. And I feel like my thing, so I've been doing a whole bunch of moving around. I mention this all the time on my stream. I have a shelving unit thing with books that is not working out. I've beat the dead horse on my stream, so I won't talk about it, but it's big and I don't want to like just throw it away. Like, it's still good. I can use it for something else. So I've cleaned out a bookshelf in my bedroom, and that has gone somewhere else. And then now I've got to get this shelving unit free of the books and then move that upstairs. And then I literally still in the boxes a new unit to put the books on. And
this is news to me.
Well, not really. I had the new unit like before I went to England, but it's one of those things where, because my house is small, I don't have cupboards, I don't have closets, so everything has to sort of be on shelves or in furniture. And so, you know, 12 by 12 rooms or 10 by 12 rooms suddenly become smaller when you've got furniture everywhere. And I just don't have the room to like move that piece of furniture somewhere. Like, I have to play the musical chairs approach because I just don't have the space. But yeah, it's happening. But this bookshelf up in my bedroom has not moved in a really long time, and I gotta be honest, the books were very dusty. And so going in there and dusting everything, I feel like I've caused myself a little bit of an allergy. I had gloves on, and I was like, oh, I'll just wear a dust mask, you know, and yeah, that didn't work out. So but I can tell you guys 2 fun things. I have a whole stack, like I'm talking stack of magazines, and like from the early 2000s. They are a very wide range of topics. There are some quilting and sewing, dolls, Lucky Peach. I was telling you about Lucky Peach the other night. So that's like food writing and stuff. So like just a really wild cross section. And I'm like, these magazines were great at the time. I subscribed to many of them, but they're just taking up space. And so like I gotta sell them or get rid of them or something. So I started taking pictures of everything, and I've got my big stack. And guess what AI can do? I said, hey, ChatGPT, here's a bunch of pictures, and we created a system. And so there are limitations on, you know, ChatGPT, and I'm using my phone for all of it. That's the beautiful thing. I have the ChatGPT app, and I upload 10 pictures at a time. It does all of the scanning and the OCR, and it puts it all in the spreadsheet, and then it goes out and it researches Etsy, eBay, like all the sites that it can to come up with prices, like a price range. And then it tells me like, here's what I suggest you would list this magazine at for a price. And some of them are kind of like, I am never even going to get like the cover price on these magazines. Cause like who wants like, I don't know, quilting gifts from 2003.
Yeah,
somebody
at
might.
The library, we sell magazines for 25
exactly.
cents a piece or 6 for $1.
Exactly. And so, but what I'm trying to do is like maybe build some kind of thing on my website and get rid of some of the stuff, like, you know. But I do actually have a few magazines that are like rare stuff, things that were like international magazines, bought at Barnes & Noble. Lucky Peach is very, very collectible, and I feel like because it only had like a very limited print run, and it only published for a few years. So anyway, fingers crossed. But Mary Englebright's I have a whole bunch of Martha Stewart Halloween editions, which are apparently collectible. So anyway, I'm hoping at the very least just to get these out of my house and maybe earn a couple bucks doing it. And AI helped me. And it would have taken me, I mean, the effort in this was really just sorting and dusting everything. AI did the rest. So this was a project that would have taken me days and days and days if I was going to, sit and look at each magazine and type it all out. And, AI did it all for me. So I got to say, I really like AI for some of this stuff. Oh no, Robin. I'm just chatting away here and you guys are talking. So Robin's youngest granddaughter is in the PICU. Oh, poor little. I had pneumonia when I was 3. And I spent like the entire holiday season in the hospital, like Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So yeah. Oh, poor little thing. Oh, she's 2.5. High flow oxygen, antibiotics, yeah. Oh, poor little babe. Like the sleep is good. Yeah, sleep is good for them. Well, I have a new cousin this week.
Oh.
These are my cousins. Yeah, these are my cousins that are my uncle's kids. And my uncle is like not that much older than me. So his kids are just a little bit older than my son. And so they're just getting married and having their own kids. And, when you're in your 50s and you have had children / a child, you're kind of like, you're a little jaded about it when you've raised children. No, she was not born on my birthday. And here's the thing. My cousin, God bless her, she'd been posting on Instagram for weeks about, it's getting closer, it's getting closer. And one of her cousins, so not related to me, but like on her mother's side, is a photographer. And so she'll do all of these, those like our engagement photos and our getting ready for wedding and, all the photos. So she did like their pregnancy. And it was cute. It was like they were walking through this like pretty wooded area, I guess. And, she's very, very pregnant. And so she started posting about 10 days out. We'll meet you in 10 days. We get to hold you in 9 days. Can't wait to see you in 8 days. And so I had assumed, because I haven't talked to my family a whole lot recently, I had assumed that she was going to have a C-section, because I kind of suspect that maybe, I don't think she's had any complications, but I kind of suspect that there may be, a few things, like she's heavier and, they worry about things like that, especially when babies are big and things like that. So I assumed scheduled C-section, because she's like very adamant, like we get to meet you, we get to hold you in it. So, well, the 23rd comes, you guys know it was my birthday, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, there's a family member being born on my birthday. I get to share my birthday with a family member, and I don't hear anything. And they're the kind of people that, like, we all like to brag, but they're especially like to post their pictures. So I kept thinking her sister, at least, would have posted a picture or something, like, we've got a baby. Nothing. It's complete silence. So the next day, I'm kind of like, surely, maybe, C-sections, it's hard. It's not, it's not, you don't bounce back. It's, there's medical stuff involved. And so maybe everybody's kind of low-key. So finally, like, was it yesterday? I talked to my mom, and she's finally like, oh yeah, by the way, baby came late last night. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, she didn't have a C-section. And she's like, no, she got induced. And I was like, okay. Hey, Druid. So I realized that she's all along, she had an induction planned for my birthday. Like, that was what was scheduled. And I was like, oh, you poor sweet summer child. Raise your hand if you know anybody, including maybe yourself. I don't know, if you have kids and you were induced. Did you have like a lickety-split labor and delivery? I'm going to put money on the fact you did not. Because I have a number of friends who were induced, and it's usually like first babies, they sometimes like to be late. Second babies, I've heard, I don't have a second, but a number of my friends had second children, and they were like, oh my God, that second one shot right out. Like, I didn't have time to think about it.
That was me.
Okay, you were a second baby, yes. So anyway, it's just, it's not a hard and fast, but a lot of people I know, this is what they experience. So anyway, but the whole induction, and, I've had one child. I'm not all that connected to, labor and delivery. I have a friend of a friend who's a midwife, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of get things secondhand, but I've just never heard a good story about people being induced. It either leads to several days of horrible labor, and yes, exactly, Marianne, right? So supplemental oxytocin, trying to speed things up, and it really ends up in you being in pain, or just in like it suspends the dilation, all of I don't know why they still do it, right? It's crazy. My sister-in-law, she had like a 48-hour labor because of being induced. Yeah, because he was very late. He was like a week overdue. I don't know. I mean, when I was pregnant, I was trying to avoid a C-section at all costs, because I was like, I don't want that surgical intervention. I want to, I'll go through the pain, whatever. And then I didn't have a choice, because they sent me home, made me labor at home. And by the time I actually was like, I think I need to go to the hospital, it was getting like close to too late. So, Marianne. Oh, and that's the thing. Babies are cute because you need to forget the horror of having to give birth to them. And it's the only way that you're going to forget and have more, right? Like, this is the survival of our species. Is the ability of mothers to forget how hard it was to give birth to babies. So anyway, long story short, the baby was born 2 days later than she and her husband thought the baby would be born. And I guarantee you it's because nobody gave her the horror stories of being induced. And also, this little girl was big. She was almost 9 pounds.
My God.
Yes, that's a big baby. That is a big baby. My son was just under 7. He was actually a little bit early. He was like, I'm going to say he was 2 or 3 days early. Not super early, but just 2 or 3 days early. And I was working on it because I was like, I got it. We were eating spicy foods. I was riding bumpy roads. I was doing anything. I was like, come on.
I was going to say, were you guys doing like the number one thing to do?
No, I would not have tolerated that, but all the other things. So, Robin, 3 over 9 pounds. God bless you. That's, I recently saw something, and I can't remember what state it was. It said it was like the biggest baby that had been born at that hospital, definitely. And it was like some 13-pound monster. And they showed a picture of him, and he was a cute little bundle of but he didn't look like a newborn. He looked like this weird.
Gave birth to a toddler.
Yes. Like, this baby's too big.
That one's overcooked.
Robin. Oh, yeah, I had no meds for mine. Like I said, it was too late. I had been like, I'll be brave, no meds. My mother kind of had one of those. She had an epidural, and she claims she doesn't remember them taking the needle out. I was like, really? I don't think they left a needle in your spine, but whatever. So yeah, oh. Your father-in-law wanted you to have an 11-pound baby because he was a 10-pound baby. Okay, yeah, that's a wish of a man. Because he'd have to squeeze.
That's also, can I also just say, like, that's kind of a weird thing for a father-in-law to say.
Well, no, that's a stupid thing for a man to say. That's like, oh, I was a big baby, you're gonna have an even bigger baby. Yeah, I got words for you, my man. Let me find a hole for you to squeeze something gigantic out of.
I'm so glad I didn't have children. Can I just tell you that?
On my father's side, they have, and I'm the only grandchild on my father's side. My father has 2 siblings. One is deceased, and then he's got a younger sibling. And none of them, my dad's the only one that had a kid, but they all suffer kidney problems. So they've all had kidney stones. And I remember my uncle saying, if kidney stones are anywhere close to how bad labor is, men would never be able to handle it, because he's like a kidney stone. He's like, I was ready to just hang myself if I couldn't get medical intervention. And I was like, And many women the world over do this many times over with no medical intervention. Squat in a field, have your baby, and keep working. Toss it on your back and keep going. It is our lot in life. So, yeah. So yeah, we've got all of the horrible labor stories in. When did we move
Yeah,
to?
you're really starting off on a positive note here, aren't you?
You know, anything could happen at Stitch and Glitch. Anything can happen. So, um, yeah. Giant babies, terrible delivery stories. What else can I traumatize you with today? I do have to say, on my birthday, you guys, I had Dave's hot chicken. That was my choice. My
That
husband.
was your birthday dinner?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am. Yeah, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I'm a simple person. You know, I during my 30s and 40s, I did that whole birthday week, birthday month, and I'm just like, you know what? I just
Okay,
want.
I never did that weird shit.
Oh, I was about okay. It's September. You gonna treat me like a queen. Um, it never worked out. So it was always something I would do at work. I would just be like, hey guys, will somebody do my work for me? It's my birthday month.
You know, speaking of your birthday, remember when, we'd streamed on Tuesday and you were like, okay, I'm gonna go enjoy some cake. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any cake. I went out after our stream and went and got cake. And I don't know if you remember when I went on my quilt retreat in June and I was telling you about the catering they had there, and every day they had a different cake. Um, all of them were good, but like on like the last cake day, they had a carrot cake, which normally is really not my jam. But this one was so incredibly moist, and like I usually don't like carrot cake because it's soft and dry. But it was really moist and really it was so good. Um, so I don't know why. For some reason I'd been thinking about it, so I was craving a carrot cake. So I legit went out to the grocery store like 5 minutes before they closed, and they had little individual carrot cakes. And I was like, "Oh my God, it was awful. It was terrible.
And
It
you
was
know,
so dry.
I
Like
love
I was
carrot
so
cake.
ashamed."
I really love carrot cake, and I don't get it often because carrot cake commonly has walnuts in it,
Yeah, this had walnuts
and
in
I'm
it.
allergic.
I
But
I don't I don't dislike it. I like the flavor of it. I often just don't like it because it's dry.
well,
Often dry.
technically, carrot cake is just spice cake with carrots grated in it.
Yeah. It's just like let's hide some healthy food in here.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, and that's the thing. You get some carrot cake. That's not really cake. That's kind of like a healthy food because it's got vegetables in it. You throw some zucchini in a carrot cake, and I mean, seriously, that is a whole vegetarian meal. Um, but let me tell you guys, good carrot cake, especially nut-free carrot cake, Walmart. The Walmart bakery. If you have a Walmart with a bakery near you, look for their carrot cake. They sell it as a full sheet cake, and they sell it as these little tiny individual, like it's in a little square container. It is delicious, and it's got the cream cheese frosting. You got to keep it in the refrigerator because the cream cheese frosting, so good.
Robin, Nothing Bundt Cake puts pineapple in their carrot cake.
Oh yeah, pineapple. That's another. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know that I can get on board with that.
I actually like carrot cake with raisins in it. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think I've had that
fruit and
before.
vegetables. Like, come on. Again, carrot cake can be,
I think though, if they're doing carrots and raisins, I think they're really getting close to crossing the line into that like Christmas loaf thing that everybody hates.
fruitcake. Dude,
Yeah.
I made some really good fruitcake one time. Yeah. Oh, Robin's like a no raisins person. You can't taste them. Okay. Nothing but bunts. We have one of those, and I did not have a good experience with them. We did it for Connor's birthday. I think it was last year. I don't know. And this year, of course, I don't. I mentioned it. I don't know if you guys. I don't know how much I talked about it, but my husband got crumble this year. I was surprised because usually he's. I think my last birthday he said no more crumble because they're assholes. But we had this fantastic cupcake place, walking distance from my house. And then at one point they ended up with a cupcake truck that would go around town. And it was a British woman and cutest little shop in this. It was like in the front parlor of this old house. I don't know what was in the back. And you literally go in the front door and it was just in this one little front parlor room. That was it. Just they had the bakery case and that was it. And they, you could walk in there and just buy a cupcake or buy, a dozen or whatever. But your best bet was to order them. And they would do all that seasonal stuff. So like in the summer they'd have like the Shark Week cupcake. Like, that was one of my favorites. It had like a gummy shark on the top, and they did, you bite the icing and it would have like some raspberry ooze. It was so great. They did such cute stuff. And they shut down during the pandemic. And I guess it was just, maybe they, like, business was bad. They couldn't have the truck out. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure what the, I'm sure it was just the conditions of the pandemic, and they just decided they just couldn't handle it. But I was so bummed, because that was Mother's Day, my birthday. We always got the cupcakes, and they were so delicious. And there's no other bakery around here quite meets,
But like, I'm disappointed in your birthday dinner.
Oh, no,
And
I'm not. Oh my gosh. Dave's hot chicken, I got cauli nugs. I love the cauliflower nuggets. Again, a health food. They may be deep fried, but they're delicious.
And then I had to be disappointed in the cake afterwards.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, your birthday sucked.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry my birthday sucked for you.
Yeah, what the hell? And then, y'all, she wouldn't even let me show her what her birthday present is.
Well, because I do like a surprise every now and then. I mean, the only birthday presents I bought for myself. So, there's no surprise there.
That's not true. That's not true.
Well,
you got a birthday present of tiny things.
Oh, yes, I did. I'm sorry. That's terrible. Yes, I neglected that. That was a wonderful surprise. Our dear friends, Becky and Carrie, sent me tiny wine and tiny cooler, complete with ice, of beer. Because what's a birthday celebration without some alcohol? And if you did not see it, check out my Instagram. I did a little diorama of a little birthday party. In case you haven't figured it out, my little diorama is eventually going to be a quilt shop.
Well, and your friend that's in that little diorama,
Mr. Fook,
you were working on a Stitchin glitch. Maybe the last one or the one before?
It was probably the one before. I think I've had him finished for a little while. Maybe, I can't remember. I made him pretty quickly after I came back from England, because he was a pretty quick and easy. And then I made those were Cynthia Treen. I made the frog prince, but I turned it into a frog princess. So yeah, I'm making a little quilt shop, and I've been collecting some little.
Simply with beer and wine.
Well, there might be beer and wine at the opening, like the soft opening of the quilt shop, but yeah, I've been making tiny things and collecting tiny things that are been looking through all my stuff. It's mostly been a making, because they just don't sell tiny quilt shop accoutrement out there, so I have to corner the market myself. There is one miniature maker I was sad to see. She made some really cute stuff, and I don't know if she sells it or not. And I'm trying to think her, ooh, a tiny mouse. I could make a tiny mouse. But this woman, I think it's called Moon something, and she posted on Instagram or Facebook saying that, this website, this miniatures website, like, stole her pictures and cropped out her watermarks. And so she was like, I'm not going to post anymore. And I'm like, no, your stuff is so cute. I love to look at it. But it was tiny things, like little tiny, like a little tiny needlepoint cross stitch project that was mid stitch, and she had teeny spools of thread, and just adorable things. And none of it was 3D printed. Like, that's kind of another thing that's happening in like the world of miniatures, is 3D printing. And some of the little things are very cute, and some of them I'm kind of like, yeah, well, just because you could doesn't mean you should. Like, you can make a perfectly cute table out of cardboard and, like, basically trash, and make it really cute and paint it and stuff. But I feel like kind of wasting materials on 3D printing something like that you could make with recycled materials is, I don't know. I don't like that, but anyway. So this little project I'm working also is kind of a miniature thing. It's a little tiny house, but it's a purse. Let's see if I can find the picture to show you guys, because this is pretty cute. A tiny goldfish bowl with a goldfish. I love that. There's There's a couple of so Miniverse, the little brand that's in all the stores that I buy their stuff. They have a goldfish, like a beta fish, and a lot of people will buy the goldfish, or they'll find, because they're blind packs, they'll find them and they'll do these remixes. So they'll take the goldfish in the bowl and they'll make a whole like aquarium. Those are really cute. Yeah, I'm just a sucker for tiny stuff, and because tiny stuff is having a moment, you know.
I don't know, because I only see tiny stuff with you.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you have to be in
You're the whole moment.
Tiny Talk. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not. You have to be there on Tiny Talk or whatever. Um it was one of our friends told us about now I can't remember the terminology, like the embroidery people, I guess embroidery talk or whatever. Or floss tube, that's what it is, floss tube, that's what she called it. That's a whole community of people, and I think maybe some of you probably know about floss tube. I think maybe Robin, you mentioned it before, but I had no idea that whole community existed. And I mean, I embroider and stuff, but I'm not like, I don't collect like those queen frames that are, worth a lot of money. And I just, I just embroider when I need to embroider something, and that's it. That's not something I collect a whole lot of. So I was really, really surprised that there's like this whole community. Let me show you this picture of what I'm going to be working on. It is so adorable. Let's see. Share that. I think you should be. What are you looking at? Let me see. No, you guys aren't seeing.
Nope.
They have these different new ways of doing the screen sharing now on Facebook or not. Let me try this. Where's the thing where it's like you share your own screen? Let's see.
I see a kitty.
Alright, let me try this again. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Hopefully you can see this.
Yeah. Wow. You're on the screen twice.
Yeah, because I picked this side by side. I don't want to do that. Immersive? No. Let's see, they have all these things, and I'm like, all right, let me try this again.
You can do it. I have faith.
Okay, I don't know. But you guys, you can see this, right? It's a very tiny picture, but
yeah.
So she's got this Pinterest board. Apparently this was like a thing, I remember these little houses as I don't want to log in. I just want to look at the pictures. I remember these things as tissue boxes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember ever seeing one as a purse. Oh my god, look at that. That's a little, I don't want to visit the site, but yeah, that's a little arcade game. But look at this stuff. So cute. And it looks like there's a ton of these like little, Tudor style cottage type ones.
Mm-hmm.
Just adorable. And so anyway, look, this is like an actual needlepoint tea cozy thing. So anyway, this woman, she runs a little shop, and she like just started this stitch along, and it's free. You just have to sign up for it. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. And Christina, that's my problem, is I see cute things and I start projects and never finish them. Yeah, here's the little. Let me pull the tissue out of the chimney.
Chimney?
Mm-hmm. Needlepoint is another thing that's having a moment. Um,
Yep.
yeah. So anyway, that's the thing. And if you want,
Are you really gonna like make this purse to use as a purse?
yeah, it'll be a display thing that'll keep stuff in. Like probably use it like a little project bag. No, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
end up very big. It ends up being like this is the front. This is the size of the front. Um, that's the bottom. Those are the sides. So the sides end up getting you stitch them. It's a point. It ends up being a point. You cut it after you stitch, so it's gonna be like
Mm-hmm.
about that tall and about that wide. So it's not too huge.
So when you finish this project bag, I get to have the sewing roll. I approve of this project.
I see how it is. um,
Good. Cause did I stutter?
okay, all right. Gosh, I'm looking for the link so I can share the link. Ba, 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 ba. All right, here we go. Make sure this is the one. I do have to say, so this is something here. FYI, if you ever have a website, um, blog post kind of thing, and you do it as a series, make it easy for your followers and reference all the things every time. You know, if this is a blog post 1 and then you do blog post 2, make sure that you reference blog post 1 and blog post 2, even if it's just like a little, because nothing is more irritating to me than trying to track down a thing. And I'm not trying to disparage this person, but it's
All right, I just did a side and I only did 11 stitches.
so that's 11 stitches to the inch.
11. No, these are half inch.
Oh yeah, Marianne, I've seen those machine embroidery patterns for yeah, they make it almost kind of like a lacy or like yeah, I've seen some of those. I want to say that the local quilt shop near me that they had they were a Bernina dealer, I think, and they had a lot of cute patterns, and they had the little things made up. And I remember there was a really cute it was like a little Halloween house that you did like a machine embroidery project. I can't remember the details. It was one of those sort of patchwork it in the frame kind of things where you'd put down a piece of fabric and then it would do all the embroidery around it. And I think you'd add little bits of fabric. If that sounds like a I don't think I've imagined that. I think that was an actual project for how it worked. So anyway, such cute stuff. There's so many cute creative things out there, right?
Mm-hmm. For cake to discover.
For cake to discover and then dig out all the supplies for. And the thing is, I thought this would be a fun project because I didn't have to buy the supplies. I have all the stuff. I have gobs and gobs of yarn. This was meant for yarn scraps. So
LJ said 11 is the new record.
Right. I mean, you're down from 300. So I think it's a banner day for Jill.
That is serious progress. I deserve another cake.
You do. You deserve a new cake for that. Wow. So are you shooting for like my standard, which is like maybe 3?
No. I'm not that much of like a gutter wench. Like I'm going for maybe like a sophisticated 8.
Yeah, I think 10. I think 10 is probably a good number for Hexies that small.
LJ, how many did you say? I feel like maybe you said around 10.
8 to 10 on a half-inch Hexie is like a normal. Like, But check this out, guys. This is a blast from the past. I have this little tiny cabinet in my hallway that is just jammed with random craft supplies, and it's got a lot
I
of
feel
yarn in
like
it.
we need to start seeing pictures of these things for reference. Because you just keep talking about all this furniture and we never see any of it.
Well, I mean, I do have to have some mystery in my life. But anyway, I knitted for a while. I kept trying to skirt around quilts for a very long time in my life. Um, and I did, but textiles have always been really important. So I was knitting for a while, and I was doing a lot of felting. So knitted, like a knit something and then felt it. And Fisherman's Wool is so awesome. It's Lion Brand.
Mm-hmm.
Guess where I bought it?
Joanne's.
Yeah. Joanne used to have really good stuff like back in the day. And it's just private equity. Mm.
Yep.
I have never been anti-capitalism that much because I love to shop and I love to own things. But private equity has just ruined so much. And just, like F&W, that whole magazine, empire of F&W, Interweave, and Joanne now, and just so many things, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I hate to go into like all of those gendered things, but it's like it's a bunch of Wall Street dudes ruining things for women. And not to say that it was only women that shopped at Joanne. There's lots of men in crafting and sewing, but it still is really a women's game, and it's just yucky, when you look at the big picture. LJ is saying she thinks it was 10. How long is that side again? These are half inch,
It's
right?
a half inch. Yeah.
Yeah, so a half inch. To me, I would probably get like 6 or 8 stitches for that. I'm looking at a ruler on my desk. I'm not the stitch police. You do you. I just figured, you could save your eyesight and lots of thread if you went down from 300 to at least like maybe 20.
It's been a process. Ooh, I think I'm gonna do 10. I think I'm gonna do 10. Oh my god, I think I'm gonna do 10.
Yeah, I mean, this is baby steps, right? If you could just drop one stitch. One stitch.
Did I do it? Did I do it? Let's see. 1. I did 10.
Congratulations. So this is interesting. I talked to a colleague of mine that is a good friend yesterday. I hadn't talked in a while, and
Yeah, she blew me off for this friend.
I didn't blow you off. We got together at the time we had planned. For the time we had planned.
No,
Not at the time we had planned.
I did not. You
For the
big
time.
fat liar.
We got together an hour later than we had planned, and we got all our work done. But yes, this is a person I hadn't talked to in a while, and it was really good to catch up with him. And he is killing it with AI. He is in an industry I used to be in, and I kind of left the industry. And even though I've consulted in that industry, it's not an industry I love. It's quasi finance. I won't get into the details, but he actually he told me about some AI tools that I had heard of, but I hadn't done a lot of research into, because they're things that cost money, and they're a little bit more of like, if you're building a business, you might use these tools. He put together an entire training course with a company called Otter AI Synesthesia is the one that he used specifically for this training course. And then Otter AI is something that he put together, like all of his training content over probably 10 years. Like the stuff that's still, because times have changed. He does regulatory training. So all this stuff that's still regulatory accurate. And he put it all together into this one thing where people can pay, they can pay him to do like a consulting because it's this high stakes exam basically that he's training towards, that these types of professionals all have to pass this exam before they can work in the industry. And so part of what he, part of what his money making has been is that he does the training, and then he'll do consulting. And so if people kind of need help studying for this exam, they can contact him with questions, and he'll charge like a membership fee for like a month before your exam. You can call and text me, anytime. And he was like, yeah, that was getting to be too much. So he set up basically all of his training into this AI, and for a month at a time or whatever they want to do, they can buy access to this chat bot. It's his e-trainer, and they can ask it questions, and it can answer those questions based on all of the data he fed it. This is how we become more productive humans. This is how we properly harness AI. Not making art with it, not making it write you like your thesis in the style of Shakespeare, like all of this kind of stuff. Don't have AI sending emails for you. Don't have AI booking tickets for you. Like, that scares me. That's the next step. But instead using it as this, human productivity extender. So the other thing that I was getting to that he did, and I cannot believe that this flew. There's this company called Synesthesia. They have these avatars that are very lifelike. And you basically give them a script. And he said he had to spend a lot of time. He ended up making this document where, because of the regulatory stuff he's doing, it's federal regulatory, and the feds, they love an acronym. So there's all these acronyms, and you have to make sure they're pronounced correctly. So he spent a lot of time making this pronunciation guide for the AI. But once he was done with that, he just, here's the training, here's the scripts, here's the pronunciation guide. And he cranked out like an hour-long training for this client and sent it to them. And they were like, great, thanks, here's your check. And I was like, are you serious? You didn't have to get on camera and do this training for them? And he's like, no. And they accepted it. They had no problem with it. They loved it. I'm like, I think I need to get back in the industry. We crank out some training using and I mean, they're pretty lifelike, but they're still obviously, they're still obviously AI. So. Sorry to bore you guys with AI talk. I gotta tell you, I continue to be enamored with AI, even when I'm kind of like, ooh, it's icky.
How do you reconcile that then for yourself?
I mean, I think it's so I think two rules that are really good to stick with AI is to remember that it's not human, because I think it's really easy to fall down. I mean, even very logical people, myself included, I fall in the trap of calling it he or her, like anthropomorphizing it. It's so easy to do because it talks to you like a, I've been trying to my mental gymnastics are treating it like it's a pet or like literally a robot. You have to wrap your head around that.
I don't think necessarily gendering it's that big. I mean, we gender stuff all the time.
It's a
like people have names for their stuffed animals.
It's a slippery slope though, because here's the thing: we anthropomorphize our pets, yes, stuffed animals, characters, all that stuff, but none of those things talk back to you and tell you things.
That's what you think.
All right, so I don't know what kind of conversations Jill is having with her quilts and her stuffed animals, but so I think that's probably the first thing. And then the other piece of it is this concept of human in the loop. Is like, you do not let AI do things for you, and this is like my rule, because the next step, like generative AI is what's happening right now. This is the thing that everybody is either gaga about or pushing back against or afraid of or not wanting to deal with is generative AI. And that's the concept of generative AI is it creating something new. So predictive AI is looking at an existing set of data and finding patterns or That's a very simplified version of it. It's really much more complex than that. But the example I always give is, if your credit card gets compromised, the fraud and security department at credit card companies are using predictive AI, and they see your spending patterns, and they know, like, all of a sudden if there's something on your credit card that is incrementally out of that pattern, they will flag that. Now, once upon a time, that was really clunky systems doing that. So you might get probably everybody at some point, in the past 10 or 15 years, maybe had a situation where they went to spend money while they were traveling, and all of a sudden your credit card's flagged, and you're like, but I'm traveling, it really is me. And you got to call and say, yes, it was me making this purchase. Can we try it again? That doesn't really happen that much anymore. Every now and then I've seen people have, but it has not happened to me in years. I do every now and then have something where it's like, was this you? I have it set up as an app, and that happens on a credit card I don't use very often. But my credit card I use all the time. I have not had any problems like that, because the predictive AI knows. In banking is also doing this, and this was one thing when I went to England a few years back. It was recommended that you let your bank know if you're traveling internationally. Like, all of a sudden, it's not something you regularly do. But now, when I contacted my bank and the credit card, they were like, no, we don't need to know. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. And it's because of predictive AI, algorithms, all that stuff, predictive. Now we're in generative. Generative is using the predictions, but creating something new. And that is scary for people because it acts like a human. And then the next thing is agentic AI, which is giving AI access to your email, your credit card, your accounts, your passwords, and telling it, hey, I want to book a trip to San Francisco from Baltimore on October 1st, and on October 2nd, I want to be able to eat at a restaurant, in the Haight. And I want to have a table for 4. I want to eat before 8 o'clock, and go do it. Here's my credit card. That's the expectation of what's supposed to happen next with AI. And there are people at the Silicon Valley CEO level that are claimed to be doing things like that. And I'm like, I don't trust another human being to do that necessarily. I would never trust, at this point in my life and at this point in technology, I would not trust artificial intelligence to do those things. And so that's the progress. And so I'm at the point of, like, how to responsibly use responsibly use generative AI. And so that's that human in the loop part. And agentic AI means taking the human out of the loop. And I think at this point in time, that's not safe. Just as individuals. Society's safety, God knows. Who knows? We don't know what Silicon Valley's doing. We don't know what China's doing. Who knows? There's all kinds of, I don't want to use a dirty word. Yeah, Robin says, oh heck no, not trusting AI. Yeah, exactly. Those are things that we're not ready for that. So that's I kind of reconcile, like, that I have this hard line in the sand with how I use AI, what I do with it, and how I conceptualize it. The other thing is that you have to be cognizant of the fact that it takes, these server, large language models have to sit in huge server banks. I mean, we're not talking like the nerdy ass thing that people like your significant other can manage, a stack of machines in a closet. That is not how AI is managed. AI is managed by, like, you see these pictures of warehouse, server farms. That's AI. And it takes a lot of energy, a lot of water is, processed, so it's bad for the environment. And so you have to think about that in how you converse with AI. So, for example, if I was talking to if I was on a chat with an actual customer service person from a company, they would ask questions, I would answer, I'd please and thank you, and okay, now I'm going to go off and I'm going to check some things in my system. Can you wait a moment? Yes, please, thank you, appreciate it. You kind of have to cut it off with AI. Like, you want to be nice to AI. Be nice to AI. You never know what's going to happen. But on the other hand, when it tells you, here's the thing, you don't have to answer it after that. Don't say thank you.
Do people do that?
Yes. Yes. And that's one little piece of like energy you don't use. And I know that sounds really stupid, but it's like incremental. It's like finding a penny and picking it up and putting it in your piggy bank. And eventually, you do that all the time, you'll end up having $1 worth of pennies at some point. It's that whole same idea. You keep using up these, and the you AI energy and conversations use tokens. And the word, thank you for doing this for me. That's all for today. That uses tokens, and tokens equals energy and ecological impact. So if you can cut it off, AI is constantly going to always have the last word. So, for instance, my project with, organizing my magazines and maybe selling some of them, it'll say to me, "Are you ready for another round?" And I've just fed it my last one. So instead of saying, "No, I'll come back tomorrow," like, I don't need to answer it. It's not a person. I'm using energy. So it's being mindful, like, about things like that. That's how I justify the ability to lean in, is keeping that human aspect of it and remembering, not letting it do everything. It's really tempting at times to be like, ugh, I don't want to have to draft this email. Ugh, I don't want to have to think about this thing. Let me just let the AI do it. Chances are the AI may not do it very well, and you're using energy for something that you could just do yourself in just as little time. So that's my long-winded version of this is how I justify leaning into AI, when a lot of people are like, ew, AI. There's going to come a point where we can't turn it off anymore. I know, for instance, on Facebook, I know, I'm not on social media that much, but I remember you telling me one of the groups that you and I commonly, we're members of, and it is one of the groups I actually look at it frequently. One of the owners had complained when Meta first put in this AI, and it's coming in there and it's like, hey, I did not invite you in here. And to me, that's a completely valid, thing. And so it's like, okay, all right, Facebook, how do we turn this off? That was like the big conversation. And this wasn't that long ago. This was just a couple months ago at most, right? So we're at a point right now where we can do that. We can say, like, heck no, turn it off. I don't want that. But there may come a time when you don't have the option to cut it off. So I think it's important to at least have kind of an understanding and know how to interact with it. I've noticed things, so to go back in time, remember when we first learned about ChatGPT? I will tell you, who first told me about it was Mary Fonz, because her husband is an IT person and he introduced her to it. And I mean, this was pretty like within the week that OpenAI released it. We kind of all together saw Mary do some little things, and it was a novelty then, right? Mm-hmm. We had it write a quilt horror story. Mary tried to get Dolly to come up with some funny pictures of like red pandas and quilts, and it was weird, and it was like, oh, what is this? Like, this is hot garbage. 3 years later, it ain't hot garbage anymore. It can really do some amazing things if you know how to get it to do that. So I think it's important, whether you agree with AI or like AI, at least understand what it is and what it's doing at this moment, which may change tomorrow. And just know how to deal with it. I mean, for example, not everybody loves the internet. Not everybody loves social media. I mean, I have a very close family friend who's basically like a family member. She just got a cell phone like last year. She just started texting this year.
How old?
She's my mom's age. She's my mom's best friend. So 70 something. She fought it for so long, and it's at the point where like she knows she can't fight it anymore. Her bank like charges her for coming in there physically or calling and saying, hey, I need whatever. They're like, no, you can use the online. And she's like, I can't. I don't have a computer. So she's kind of come around, and I'm just like, oh God, like this is where you should be with AI right now, not with cell phones. You're like 20 years too late on the cell phone front, right?
I mean, at least.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, like there is nothing wrong in my opinion, with sort of being anti-technology, because there's so much technology related stuff that is, it's frustrating, it's problematic, it complicates our lives. So I understand that. But on the flip side of it is also like there are just some things, there's progress that we can't, let go or be dragged, get out of the way or get run over, like it's moving on without you if you don't like jump on the train and at least understand what you're dealing with. Yeah. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, at least with you, because your significant other is an IT person. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I held out on smartphones for quite some time. I got my very first smartphone in like 2015, where he'd already had one for years.
Yeah, I want to say maybe mine was like 20. I think 2011. I had to get an iPhone through my work, and so.
Yeah, I just didn't. Yeah. I was not interested. Now, I have to have a smartphone just for my work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't not have it. Are there things I love about having a smartphone? Mm-hmm. There are things I absolutely despise about having one.
Yeah, necessary evil.
And don't I'm sorry, don't mind me eating pistachios. I'm so hungry right now.
We're not even talking about food.
No, I just haven't really eaten anything today.
Yeah, I know.
And this was a day where I had like back-to-back Zoom things going on. So, I had to munch.
Yeah, I had a quick little snack before we started, but
was it a chicken sandwich?
It was not. It was a cereal bar, but like not the kind that's full of fiber.
Not the kind that might be halfway good for you.
It was more of the marshmallow treat cereal bar type of thing. Not good. Yeah, I need to have like actual nutrition in my life, and I've been neglecting that lately. That's not a good thing. So.
Hey, people listening, hanging out here. What would you all think about having a random Stitch and Glitch on a Sunday instead of a Saturday?
Oh yeah, that was important. I'm glad you remembered that question. We talked about this yesterday.
Like,
because yeah, I hear the reason
something you can do, or
yeah, one of the reasons for the question is October is a weird month, and we're probably not going to be able to do a Stitch and Glitch unless we do
like a Sunday,
an off schedule Sunday.
Oh, see, I told you. Everyone was like, "I don't care, I'm there."
You guys are just as unencumbered on weekends as we are. It's all it's all little projects and housework on weekends, right? So you're like, sure, I'll listen to you guys yammer on about nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Because
well, there's your answer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was already feeling pretty confident in the crew. Did Druid leave?
I don't know. Did she just stop by for a minute? I know sometimes, at least on my stream, she's usually listening, but doing other stuff. Like she's always got a pot of stew going, like in the winter. She jumps back and forth. No, she's here.
Don't you leave? I'll miss you.
You and Drew would have a cute relationship. You little tumble turds.
We really do. She's my little baby.
So here's something interesting, you guys. If you have never stitched on plastic canvas, and it's never been something I've loved a whole lot.
I just gave away like a massive stack of that crap.
Oh, I have a pile of it. But I mean, I guess I've never really done any major, like I've stitched like little ornaments and things like that, like when I was a kid. It's such an 80s craft. I didn't realize, so like when you're doing counted cross stitch, you're counting the holes, like, in the threads. When you're counting this, you count the lines. I never realized that.
Oh,
Um,
that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me.
well, but it's because you're everything is based on the fact that you've got like you don't have to. It's got you have to count like the edges, and so you count lines instead, I guess. Um, and I'm starting to wonder. I'm like, did I ever have any count across stitch stuff that or plastic canvas stuff that didn't work out, and maybe it was because I was counting holes instead of lines? I did not know. Is this something you're supposed to know, you guys, if you've done any of this work before? Um, aw, Druid. That's the wonderful thing I love about Druid is she mods for me, and Robin does too, for like basically the goodness of their heart because I don't have much to offer. um, so yeah, she plans for Cake TV like a job. My sweet Druid. And Robin's my other, and LJ's there a lot. You guys are my, and Marianne's there quite often. You guys are my rocks.
They're your rocks because you've lost your marbles.
Indeed. So, yeah, so I'm trying to look at this, and I'm looking at my. I'm probably gonna do this wrong.
You guys, what should I have when we're done here?
What for to eat?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be on my own.
Oh,
Mm. So I can have whatever I want. I don't have to consider anyone else.
don't have to consider anyone else.
Steak and a baked potato. Okay. That was awfully specific.
I'm thinking, is Robin interested in steak and a baked potato?
I did just make baked potatoes the other day.
I haven't had a baked potato in a while. I love a loaded baked potato. I rarely make.
I just love
Yeah.
I just love potatoes.
Yeah, yeah. Burger and fries.
Burger and fries. I haven't had a burger in a while.
I'm trying
Like
to
a good
think,
one.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh well, then have a slice of cake or pie or popcorn or make cookies. I'm trying to think what we have for dinner. My husband loves what he calls bowls of shit.
Yeah.
So you guys know, you may or may not know, I do like the meal prep kits a lot, because it's so much easier, and it's like not a lot of extra ingredients left over and stuff I don't have to deal with. And I mean, just for in terms of the grocery shopping, it just ends up being, because it's just the two of us and my son sometimes, it ends up being more economical. And so they will often have meals that are pretty simple. It'll be some kind of very delicious meat and vegetable whatever, and then it comes with rice, and you can just put the whatever delicious mixture over the rice, and maybe have like some side vegetables or something. And so he's always like, a bowl of shit. So it'll either be rice or couscous or something like that. So we've definitely got ingredients for something like that. I can't remember what it is. I think that's what we'll be having after we're done here. And I still have lots of I finished off the cookies. I think we finished off the crumble.
I do have some Selena Gomez cookies in the cabinet.
I think we do too.
Pancakes. So
breakfast
you
for
got
dinner.
breakfast?
That's always a good one. We used to do breakfast for dinner all the time when Connor was little, because sometimes it was fast, and I knew he would eat it. It'd be like a full meal he'd eat. It would at least be some protein.
I love me some breakfast.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Something we do sometimes, and it's not super frequently because it's not it's really not a very nutritious dinner, but I'll go to like the appetizer aisle in the frozen food section and just get like a whole bunch of stuff. So like, fried cheese sticks and like the TGI Fridays twice baked potatoes, and my local grocery store has this line of stuff that's really good. They're kind of little like puff pastry phyllo dough kind of things, but they have things like barbecue chicken, I don't know, really good stuff. So anyway, we'll dump all that stuff into like the air fryer and the toaster oven and just have an appetizer night. And I pull out like the ranch dressing, the barbecue sauce, and the hot mustard, and we'll make like a little spread. That's always a really fun, not super demanding kind of dinner. I would eat, if I could eat appetizers for every meal, small things on toothpicks. I would absolutely eat that way. Oh, fish and chips.
Because they're tiny things.
Uh-huh. I was obsessed with Martha Stewart for the longest time, not necessarily because of her whole lifestyle brand, but because she is a really kick-ass appetizer maker. She has a really great appetizer entertaining book that came out.
Yeah, isn't that one of like her most famous publication?
Possibly, yeah. It's a pretty thick book, and it had to have come out like in 1999, I think, because I had this big I had a big millennial party. I had a bunch of people over. We got all dressed up. I had some friends coming from out of town, and we were like, well, if the world's gonna end, Y2K, we'll have appetizers. So yeah, I did a whole spread. It was beautiful. It was one of like 2 major parties that I have had in my adult life that I was really proud of. It was very, very adult. Ooh, what's your favorite takeout food? That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I am not at all a picky eater. I like lots and lots of stuff. My favorite takeout food, I guess I'd probably say pizza, just because pizza is something almost everyone always takes out. You don't often eat pizza at a restaurant.
Yeah, Marianne says Chinese.
I mean, I love Chinese takeout, but I will also eat Chinese in a restaurant. So,
oh, you do like the Korean barbecue and the hot pot stuff a lot, don't you?
you can't, yeah, and you can't take that out. That's not possible to do takeout for that.
But it's still so good. I mean, you have to go to the restaurant for it, but
It's freaking amazing. When do you and your mom leave again from Portland? You leave Sunday or Monday?
Monday.
Half me's like, should you guys come and stop on your way down to have Korean barbecue? Like,
yeah, I'm thinking Monday. No, I think we leave like early Tuesday, because we're just gonna spend the night and then get there on
no,
Wednesday morning.
to go home.
Oh, to go home. We leave on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom is a very adventurous eater. She'll anything that I'm willing to eat, she's willing to try. And the only thing that I think she's ever said, do not ever order that for me again. This is one place where we divert to sushi. She's like, if it's not cooked, I don't want it in front of me. And she doesn't like undercooked eggs either. So
I don't like undercooked scrambled eggs. I like my scrambled eggs dry. I don't like them wet, but I will eat like over easy eggs.
Yeah. So my mom will no over easy, no poached eggs, and I love eggs Benedict. Oh my god.
Oh my god, I love poached eggs.
I did an eggs Benedict thing for a while. Like every breakfast, brunch restaurant I went to that you could get eggs Benny, I would get eggs Benny. I was probably for like a whole year I was on this, and I learned how to make it myself. The hollandaise sauce. Eggs Benedict is so very like, ugh. Oh, Jared, this coming Monday is normal schedule. Yeah, I probably for October I need to make sure that you have you and Robin have the schedule Jill does, because it'll have all of my no dates. It's mid-October that I'm gonna have like
You're gonna have like 3 streams in a row.
It's like the 13th through the 20th I will have no streams. So like the 13th, the 16th, the 20th, I won't have any streams because of me traveling. So
And also, you guys can be the first ones to hear because Stephanie and I, among a lot of the other things we were playing with yesterday, um, we were playing with the, hold on one second.
she went away. Yeah, we were in a meeting last night, and there was a couple people in the meeting on Zoom who were bouncing back and forth between, like, I think they were doing other stuff, so they'd turn their camera off. And it kept freaking me out because like, all of a sudden we had 7 people on screen, and all of a sudden we'd only have 5. And then we'd have 6. I'm like, ah.
Sorry about that. No, Sunday's getting ready to leave the house. So yeah, while we were doing all this like stuff on our to-do list, we were looking at the schedule for October and talking about the schedule for November because we do also have a short trip at the beginning of November where we go to New York City. And we had been talking about pushing back the start of our next book into late October because we didn't want to take a break for seminar. And then we were like, well, if we do that, we're going to have to take a break the beginning of November. So we've kind of decided that we're actually going to drop the start of the next book down to the second week of November. Like the first assignment will go out like November 4th, and then we'll start discussing the week after. So because we don't have any travel planned
And this is the book
for the rest of the year. And it's the great thing about doing books in quarters because we can have extra time. So like those 2 streams after seminar, we're going to talk about nothing but seminar. It took us 2 streams. It took us at least 2 streams last time.
Yeah.
Just to go through lots of photos and stuff. So,
yeah, 2 streams, and I would say multiples of my stream too.
Yeah, there's going to be lots of stuff.
I'm going to put, just since we're talking about it, I'm putting the link to the book in the chat.
I mean, that's good.
In case anybody's interested, I have plenty of time to obtain the book. And I'm really excited about reading this one. This is another...
Good, because at first when I suggested it, you were not excited.
Well, because I was like, it's about old ladies. And I'm like, is this... But it actually turns out I think it's going to be very good.
Yeah, it did take a little bit of convincing. I have come across another book to put on our list. I saw it. I'm just find the photo of it. I think I don't remember where the hell I saw it, but I saw it somewhere. And actually looking at it now, I probably saw it at the library. And flipped through it really quick, and I was like, huh, I don't think I have this book.
What book is it?
It's called For Pleasure and Purpose. It's by Sandy Fox. Quilting Together in 19th Century America.
I know I have a couple of Sandy Fox books. Let's see if I have that one.
Yeah, I do too. I've never heard of this one. Are you looking it up?
Yeah. I was actually saw a Sandy Fox.
Did you know she has a book about cats on quilts?
Yes, I think I have that one. That is one of the ones. And there was something else I was looking at the other day though. It's in Roger Kirchhoff and Michael Kyle's publications. Quilt Digest. She had an article in the first one. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this.
And I love the photo on it. Can you share your screen so people can see the photo?
So again, sorry, I gotta reset what we're doing here, but
yeah, it's so much easier when I share my screen, huh? Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, anyway, yeah, that's what
it's just small.
Yeah, I don't think I can zoom in that much closer, but yeah. Oh yeah, so they're sitting at a quilt frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
And
know.
the girl in the
Yeah.
back almost kind of looks like she's talking on a cell phone, even though she's not.
No, she's like, oh, my fingers hurt. um, yes, this looks very good. I'm actually not familiar with this one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so letters, diaries,
Yeah,
reporting.
LJ, I also have her book Small Endearments. That's one of the first ones I think of
Yes.
when I think of.
Yep, I've got that one. That's the one I think of. Um,
So, what's the prices there looking like? I didn't like look
um,
into it at all.
so yeah, so it's. I mean, you can get a copy of it. Well, there's only one left. 638.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it looks like you can also buy it for 1970. It doesn't look like it's too terribly expensive. It
Mm-hmm.
is out of print, so.
Of course, they all are.
Um, yeah, anywhere from $5 to $20. So yeah, that seems like a pretty cost-effective version.
Mm-hmm. We haven't read any of her stuff yet.
No, I've done. I mean, I covered small endearments on my stream. Um, because of tiny children's things. They're, I wanted to say small endearments was a little bit less. It didn't have. I kind of it didn't have like the content I sort of expected it to. Like I really wanted to see like a bunch of children's quilts, tiny quilts, doll quilts, all that stuff, and it was a little bit more, I guess, scholarly. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a good book. It's just it's some of these. I mean, it's out of print stuff, so it's a while ago that was published.
All right, if you guys can hold for a sec without me, I think I'm going to change my location and move myself upstairs to touch quilts.
To touch quilts. Is that your form of
Yeah,
touching? That's your form of touching grass.
yeah. Well, remember I said I was like my original plan was to like move some quilts around. I think I might actually like do that.
Okay.
I'm feeling a little less lightheaded, so hold the fort down, cake.
I will do that. Yeah, I'm putting for purpose and pleasure on my Ebe list. Do you guys do that, or are you the same kind of lunatic I am? I'll just pile stuff in my cart, and then when I have a few bucks to buy some books, I'll go in and see like, all right, here's the ones that I really want. um, so yeah, it looks like this book is very very available on books at some pretty reasonable prices. So this might be a fun one to read in 2026. So let's see, what else do I have in here? I have, Claire McCardle. I put the Claire McCardle books in here the other day when I was looking at them. Um, and I had The Calico Jungle by Dala Vipkar in there too. But that one sold. So yeah, I've been trying to really stick to my husband's one in, one out role, and it's not been going quite as successfully as I'm sure he would hope, but I'm doing better. I used to have I would be like, okay, one in, one out is more like five in, one out. But I'm doing much better with books and things. So yes, Robin, I agree. Touching quilts is her grounding method. I have to say mine is picking up the needle and thread. I mean, I do love to touch grass and be grounded, but also, if it's midnight and I'm not going outside, a needle and thread will do it for me. So, it's funny, Jill mentioning this book for purpose and pleasure. I mean, again, like we all of us seem to sort of know Sandy Fox publications and things, but isn't it amazing how you think you've seen all the books and have all the ones that are necessary, and then all of a sudden you're like, what? I had no idea this person published this book. I had that experience. It's probably been about a year or two ago. Mary Kay Waldvogel is a friend, but I and I met her through Mary Fons, but I had a few of her books because the time period that she researches is very interesting to me. So the 1930s, she and Barbara Brackman went down, they published a book, went down the rabbit hole with the Sears, the Century of Progress, Quilt Show, all that stuff. All that stuff overlaps with my work. And I always joke, like, there is not a single quilt publication that came out in the 90s or the 2000s that Mary Kay either wrote something for, actually wrote, was a resource, is, in the bibliography, whatever. And still, it wasn't until I think last year that I discovered she had written the book with, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the woman now, Mary, some of her mini quilts are at the IQM. Anyway, she had written that book about children's and doll quilts. And it's based on one woman's collection. And I found that out last year, and I was like, what other books have you written that I don't know about? So, yeah, and they talk about print publication being like this dying art, and I think that, of course, is true, but, think about in our world, and really kind of the art world, too, art books and things. It's really hard to look at those things as PDFs or as Kindle books, ebooks. I have no problem with a novel as an ebook, but I can't look at quilt books like online, that I have to have like the real deal, to have them in my hands. LJ, yeah, you're enjoying Mavis and traditional quilting. I am too. We read about, how the women would mark the quilts and, then the quilting process. And I don't know that I personally could figure out how to quilt out a frame based on Mavis Fitz-Randolph's instructions, like written instructions, and the pictures, because they're black and white, like yucky, like hard to see pictures. But her narrative was different than all of the other ones. So I think, yeah, I'm really enjoying her too. Janet's here. 62 degrees and overcast in Monterey. Oh, Janet, I'm sorry you're worrying about stuff. I will tell on myself. Jill's always telling me, like, stop telling people things that you do things wrong. I'm an open book. So today I stayed up really late last night working on some, all my projects. I was really productive yesterday. It was bedtime this morning, and I was like, oh gosh, it's time to go to bed, but I have so many things I haven't done. And I'm like, wait a minute. Here's all the things I did yesterday. That was a lot of stuff. I did a lot of stuff.
I did a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, I was really proud of myself. But anyway, so I'm like, oh, it's time to go to bed. And it was really late. And so I went to bed. And then something my husband did that woke me up. So I gotten up, took the morning vitamins and meds. I never made coffee. And was like, you know what? I stayed up so late. I'm going to lay down for like another hour. And then I need to get up. I had like a handful of things I needed to do before this stream. And then I was like, and then we stream it too. And this is a Saturday where Jill has an appointment, a thing right before. So she pops in at like, I've started the stream and she pops in. So I knew this is one was on me. You guys, I woke up at 1:00. And so adding it all up, I got like 8 hours of sleep, like 8.5 hours of sleep.
So you went to bed at like 5 a.m.?
No. I went to bed, it was probably about 3. And I woke up at 9.
So that would be more than 8 hours.
It might have been 8 hours. I did get up at 9. I thought like that was 6 hours. I thought that was good, and I could take a nap later if necessary. But no, I laid back down. I don't know what happened to the alarm. Either it never went off, or I just slept right through and it went, okay, well, just give up. I was supposed to get back up at 11 and I didn't. So yeah, I feel you with the I don't want to say it's insomnia in my case, but it's bad sleep habits. Just because I have so much, I could not get to sleep last night. I guess that's the problem with a productive day, right? Like your brain just
You think
wants
about
to,
all the more things to do.
it wants to keep going. Yeah, and to me it was good. Like I was like, oh, I'm kind of knocking some stuff out, and things like, stuff I'd been a little bit stuck on was starting to fire, and I was starting to feel good about it. And I kept like, I kind of doze off, and I'd be like, oh my god, and I grab my phone and I'm like filling out my notes app, like, oh, remember this in the morning. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Druid, you were exhausted one night and slept 10.5 hours. You guys, I'll be honest. I mean, I think it's, of course, we often think about what is going on in our world. There's lots of stuff going on, and it is stressful. It is, seasonal stuff. Like, we experience stress about that. And I think there's a lot of this going on. And, at the top of the show, I talked about, my husband being sick and me kind of feeling like bleh. So thunder. Okay. And the lightning and fire. Yeah. I feel you, Janet. I get it. 4 a.m. to noon. It's not good for any of us, but I kind of feel a little better that I'm not alone. And it's like we do the things we gotta do to stay, to get the sleep we can, and because sleep is important. I will forego eating and lots of other things just to get sleep, because I know the sleep is restorative and it's important. And when you need it, you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now I was about to say, while you guys were all asking like what's your favorite takeout and stuff, I was like, Janet was eating In-N-Out burger the other day. I was like, oh, I've been thinking about that. And you guys, there's supposed to be an In-N-Out being built in my hometown. Apparently, they're doing some franchising East Coast sort of stuff. Yeah. So maybe it's coming. It's funny, like I know within the past, like say 10 years, there's a bunch of East Coast stuff that has ended up on the West Coast that West Coast people have been excited about. So like Dunkin' Donuts, my nieces, when Dunkin' opened on the West Coast, oh, they lost their mind. And I don't think it was terribly long ago that like Five Guys made it out all the way out there. And there's Five Guys all over the world now. I ran into a Five Guys in England. I had no idea they had Five Guys in London, and I think there's one in Birmingham too. So yeah, I think we've done the gamut here on the Stitch and Glitch.
Yeah. We need to start like a new food topic.
Oh no, my mom just said it came out, it was a joke. It looked so real. Oh no. Mom, it looked so real. The picture like looked legit. Okay, so maybe it's not.
What was a joke?
Yeah, my mom's here. She said it came out that it was a joke.
Oh.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like it was a picture of the Hardys. There's a Hardys not far from where I grew up. And yeah, they had a sign out, and everybody on Facebook, I think, was saying like, yeah, it's real. It's, okay. We love In-N-Out. But Janet said they're expanding and move some production to Texas, so maybe it is coming. Maybe so. And Marianne says fast food places are scarce in her world, but food trucks. Oh, I love a food truck. We we were doing food truck stuff. Quite a few
around here.
Yeah, we were doing food truck stuff a lot. Yeah. So you're pretty rural and need to drive about 45 minutes. On one hand, I know that's frustrating when you have a major craving for some fast food, etc. But also, there's something to be said for being in a rural place and having to you just can't run out and get some McDonald's. Because I think the ease that we can run out and get some McDonald's, that's the problem in many of our lives. The fact that I have a Dunkin' Donuts like literally across the street from me practically, yeah, I used to stop there every day on my way to work. I'm sorry, I said a bad word. I'll keep you informed. Yeah, that is that is a bad news. That makes me mad. I had forgotten about it for a while, and I was excited. But on a lighter note, we have a Raising Cane's coming closer to me. Raising Cane's is another.
Oh, we got one of those.
Yeah, if you guys out, I don't know if they are as far as California. I'm trying. I think they are in California actually, because I feel like when I was out there earlier this year, I think I saw one. Lots of them in the Midwest. We saw a ton in Nebraska.
They, my brother said there were a million of them when he lived in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember really seeing them in North Carolina, but to be fair, every other fast food joint was a chicken joint. Like,
Yeah, chicken's
so
big in
I
the
would
South.
not have remembered all of
Mm-hmm.
them. Like, I remember what, Zaxby's?
Zaxby's is big in the South. Yeah.
Uh, say other ones.
Oh gosh. Okay. Zaxby's, Chick-fil-A,
We had Popeyes.
Popeyes, Churches. I think they still might have some
Yep,
Churches.
yep. I saw Churches.
Bojangles.
Yep,
Bojangles is
I saw
huge in
Bojangles.
North Carolina. Oh gosh, what else am I forgetting about?
Yeah, see, it's easy to
Hardee's.
forget because
I mean, Hardee's
yeah,
has
I saw
chicken
them.
and stuff.
I didn't try most of them when I lived down there.
Some of them have redeeming qualities. Let me tell you, Bojangles.
I don't think Bojangles was that great.
Okay, so Bojangles, I like
Sunday
Bojangles.
really liked them though.
Not for the chicken. Bojangles has got other stuff. Bojangles has Bowberry biscuits. So delicious Southern biscuits, which are very good. They are very good, but they have blueberries in them, and a drizzle, like a little sweet drizzle on top. Oh my God, those are so good. Hardee's has the cinnamon raisin biscuits, also very good. Bojangles has a ham biscuit that it's not deli ham. It is literally like salty country ham. So yes, if you've never had a delicious ham, egg, and cheese biscuit like that my grandmother would have made, not that either of my grandmothers ever made those, but let's see, Janet said In-N-Out is coming to Tennessee and they're getting a Raising Cane's in Salinas. Okay, so yeah, you've got Raising Cane in California, and okay, so maybe In-N-Out is coming closer. Maybe it's not completely.
All right, you obnoxious lady. Can I get a word in edgewise?
I had to stop nonstop because you went away, so.
I've been back for a while. I was going to say, one of the reasons that I brought y'all up here, which you've never seen this corner of my room, my desk where I sit is over on that corner of the room. I'm generally, what happens is when I list quilts online, they get folded and they get put on the bed so that I don't have to like hunt through everything to find it if it sells. That's not 100% the case right now, but it's a majority. So that's what I'm going to start. I just wiped down this shelving thing. That's what I'm going to start putting on here with. But I plan to put some quilts in the antique store that my booth, I now have a second one in there, that my booths are in for the month of October when people are in the area. Here's looking at you, Iva. And I was going to start by picking out ones that I had already listed online to put in there first. So I was thinking you guys could help me pick. Does that sound halfway interesting?
Sure.
And is it better if I put this light on? Or is that too much?
Turn it off again. I think maybe put it on. I think maybe it's...
Hold on, let me put lights on the other side of the room. Let's see if that's better.
Yeah, it seemed like it was glaring on you, like on your face, but also I think it's good. Yeah, Robin says light is better. Jill Alex is our resident heckler. Oh, my mother says be sweet.
I'm not, oh my God, I could be so much worse than I am with heckling. For sure. I'm going to move this table.
You know, I think I've already messed up these little rudimentary markings I'm doing on this plastic canvas. Yeah, I think I've already messed this up. I think I counted this wrong.
Okay. So, first up on the possibilities list.
Oh, I see a basket.
Yep. Is this blue and white prints basket quilt.
Ooh, okay. It's pretty.
Mm-hmm. I
What date range you got on that?
think like 1880.
Okay.
So are we thinking yay to go to the antique store or no?
Uh, yeah. I'd say yes until I see what else you got. Um, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do the yes, no, maybe pile. So that's a maybe. I'm
Well,
thinking
I think
you need bright colors to
so. Here's another one.
oh, see, yes, I feel like that's very attractive. That green grabs your
And
attention.
and this one is labeled and very soft. So this quilt was given to Ida Steenerson Aldred as a wedding gift in 1934. It was made by her bridge club.
Aw.
Members made blocks individually, personalizing each piece, and each block has a embroidered signature in it.
Aw, that's sweet. I like that.
So that's a yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay.
Oh, LJ's got a question. I'm so sorry. I did see your question about this earlier. So, is single fold binding on the straight of grain? I feel like, ooh, I feel like I'm gonna fumble around with this question, and that's why I hadn't answered you. So, I think historically, and Jill, chime in on this. So, historically, when you see a separate binding, so not front to back, not knife edge, but like an actual separate applied binding, it's typically straight of grain historically, because bias binding technically wastes fabric. You basically created, cutting a bias strip creates. Oh, so LJ says that basket quilt specifically. Um,
Oh, you want to know about the binding on the basket quilt? Is that what you're asking about?
yeah, I'm not sure. Is that what you're asking, LJ, or are you still asking the question about binding that you had asked me the other day? Um,
Oh, okay, hold on.
yeah. So just in terms of single fold binding, I'm gonna say that historically single fold or just really any binding was straight of grain historically, um, just because creating bias binding was wasteful if you made it yourself. But I think once binding tape became a thing, I think that that's what when you can buy it, then it became like a bias. But I think any kind of yeah.
LJ, this is a double on this quilt, and it's pretty worn.
So in that case, that was the strip folded in half, applied,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
okay, and it's straight of grain.
So I'm actually, hold on, kind of.
I think in general, to answer the question, LJ, like what we see out in the field is everything. Like we see, it's all over the place. But I would say when we see applied binding, whether it's single or double, it is almost always straight of grain. And even around corners, like if it's curved, they will just do a little scrunching to get it around corners. If it's not like a mitered corner.
Yeah, this it's interesting too, because so I'm actually kind of wondering now, looking at this a little more closely, if this might have been a top that was completed later. But I will have to look at that more closely later. Because I will have to write up like tags for this. Okay.
Yeah. And I would say, like, on a lot of early quilts, it is knife edge and back to front is also very common. Um, I think in the 20th century and in the quilt revival, in the 70s quilt revival, I think is also where you see bias binding, and you also see like the wider double fold binding. Yeah, I think people were a little more generous later in the 20th century than they were. They're kind of skimpy in the beginning.
So this is a really pretty vintage blue cross stitch quilt.
That's really pretty too. I guess for me, it's like I feel like all of them. Like yes, and it's really more. It's about how you're going to display them, right?
So, Janet, I know the second one is not big enough for quilts. I opened another case, but I opened that case specifically for
the Mocklin.
All that Mocklin I bought at an estate sale. So once I kind of go like sell off that hoard, I don't know if I'll keep it or not. So when you walk up into the barn of this antique store, when you walk in, you're in like this like bottom level of like an unattached part of the barn. I don't really know how to describe it. And then you walk upstairs and you're in the big barn, which is 3 stories. And on the ground floor are all these alcoves where they have cases or maybe a big booth or something. And then the center of the barn, like most barns, is pretty wide. And there's really not much going on in the center there. So they often might have things down the center of the barn. Like they might have a piece of furniture or something like that. And what we're talking about at this moment, aside from maybe hanging some quilts along railings, there's lots of railings in the barn, is maybe having like a quilt rack and I don't know, like maybe like a couple of like antique chairs to like fold quilts on and stuff, and to just kind of have a little temporary booth space to put some quilts in.
Excuse me. So it's not necessarily really booth space.
No.
It's kind of like they're letting you exploit some. Are they charging like a booth fee to do this, or because it's temporary, or?
I don't know, like the manager and I haven't talked yet, like how much, because I'm only doing it for like the month of October. If it does really well, I don't like, maybe I would consider doing it longer. Mm-hmm. But I highly doubt like booth, like a big booth, it's like $400 a month.
Yeah, and you're talking about.
I kind of doubt he's gonna charge me like that. But I mean, I anticipate being charged something.
Yeah. Well, so maybe if it's just like having a rack, because I remember you were telling me about maybe just like it's like a freestanding rack kind of in that space somewhere. I don't remember, and you might have told me and I just didn't pick up on it, but about like just putting some quilts over railings. That's kind of a bonus to them because it makes the space look pretty and decorative. Mm-hmm. So maybe he'll only charge you like cabinet charge, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, so well, I mean, and he knows the reason why. Like he knows that it's because, you know, I'm marketing out to AQSG members that are going to be in town that want to go antiquing. It's only 45 minutes south of Portland, so anybody that's driving on the way up, I do know some of our guests, you know, will just kind of venture out because there's other antique stores in the area. I do have some with some more fall colors in them, Janet. I do also have a quilt that's not listed online that's leaves that I plan to bring. But it was just one of those, like this one. This one's leaves and semi-fall colored. I'm not going to lie.
I know I've seen this quilt and I'm trying to remember what it looks like.
When this one sells, I'll be a little bit sad because I like it.
Okay, this one. Okay. I was thinking of something different, but yeah, I remember this quilt. Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah, and that's the whole quilt looks like that. It's just a repeat of that.
That quilt that you had behind you on Tuesday, the one where you were like, "Oh, I've got a mess. I need to cover this up." Yeah. That to me, like draped somehow would just be like, that's a stunner to me. Like that, if I saw that across.
That is currently a collection quilt.
Okay, so that one's not for sale. But that's the kind of thing where I'd be like, oh, I see it hanging. Like, oh, I want to go look at that. So.
Wait, Robin, you don't like this one? These like leaves?
You know that quilt, and I'm not saying I don't like it, but that quilt, every time I see that quilt, the stems of the leaves on that kind of yellowish, orangish kind of, it reminds me of eyes. Like they look like dragon eyes. And then like the points on the
What
leaves
are you smoking while you look at this quilt?
they look like teeth. It just at glance they look like eyes and teeth. So it's more of a Halloween quilt to me. Not for what you're planning. Robin's feeling strongly about that. And Marianne sees the eyes too, so.
I think you guys just smoked up before we got on stream.
Yep. That's why we always talk about food. Yeah, I feel like just, so you're not trying to draw people in necessarily to a specific booth. It's kind of like, it's sort of going to be like in a space and sort of maybe some railings.
Yeah, they could be scattered.
So I feel like it's the kind of thing that people need to see it from a distance and be like, ooh, let me go look at that quilt. That's what I would say. So the like the really bright colored ones, the ones that are like high definition. That's why like white quilts, love a beautiful white quilt. But I feel like it doesn't draw you in as much as like really bright.
Hold that thought.
Not to say that those things shouldn't go. Like maybe they go on the quilt rack, but like at the bottom. Like use those showstoppers that make people go like, what? I want to go look at that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
This one.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking of. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
That's bright.
Keep in mind too that I also like don't have the room for like 50 quilts.
Right.
Know?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying like I would err on the side of things like that to be like hanging over stuff, and then maybe like some of those other ones you want to move lower on the rack or whatever if you wanted to take them. But I would really go with like really bright, like unavoidable. Like you have, like if you're interested in quilts and you love bright things, like you got to go look at it.
Well, then I think I'm not going to bring the blue basket.
Yeah. I just think of myself when I'm shopping. I know sometimes I'll be like at a department store or an antique shop or something, and I'll see something from across the room and I'll be like, what is that? I gotta look at that. And I'll walk over to it, and sometimes it's something that I'm just like, oh. And then other times I'll be like, oh, it wasn't what I expected it to be, but I'm still glad I looked at it. So like I feel like you want your quilts to do that.
So I'm also like putting things away at the same time.
I was like, are you going to putting those quilts in that IKEA bag? And by the way,
would you like me to transport them, lady?
Those IKEA bags are good for transporting quilts, I have to say. I actually have a couple of like very heavy, but they're still paper, but they're heavy tote bags, like from like fancy department stores. Like I have a Coldwater Creek one that I know it's from over a year ago. I bought a quilt from one of our friends, went to a quilt study. She brought me the quilt knowing that she was going to show it to me and that I would probably buy it, and I did. And so she just gave it to me in the bag, and I've had that bag ever since. And I'm like, I don't need this bag because I have some canvas. Like I don't think I have any of those IKEA bags, but I have some big ones that are like that. And I have it, and I keep putting it away. Like I'll pull it out and be like, oh, I need to return this to her because I know she'll use it because she moves things around, and then I'll put it back. So I'm like, it's a really good bag. I feel like you've got your camera angled at like.
Oh no, that's okay. You're not seeing anything important right
now.
No,
I know. I'm looking at a lot of white space, and I'm like.
This is the curved ceiling right here, and then the wall.
I know.
So you're just trying to figure out your orientation of where you are in the room?
No, I'm just like, I've realized you've got the white space. I mean, you've got white space, but you've got us pointed at a place that you can hold quilts up. You're just not fast enough at that.
Well, it's also right next to a window.
Right, I know. I'm just like, come on, next quilt.
Oh my god, I have to make. Here, you want to see what I'm working with here, lady?
Yes, I know exactly what you're working with.
Like, this is what we're working with here. So, like,
Your
there's
guests, your guests are gonna have to crawl into a little if you don't
well,
get your
that's why,
beds
like,
cleaned
I
off.
have to find the bed under here. Like, are you in a rush?
No, I just like to see pretty things to look at. And I've been bad, you
Selfish.
guys. I haven't cleared. I just keep adding quilts. I have there's like 3 quilts under here. Cuz I realize a lot of times my background's not very interesting. Cuz I have the same quilt up. I added this one the other day. Robin says I'm getting impatient. Um yeah, I added this one the other day. This is another one made by my great grandmother. Um and it's the same pattern as this one. Like, I feel like this, and
Oh, yeah.
my mom knows more about this because she was around a little bit before this great grandmother died. She died I think right before I was born, or I might have been an infant, I can't remember. But anyway, she loved this pattern. And I guess it's kind of like it's a Jacob's ladder pattern. But you know, I mean, it's all half square triangles and then these big triangles. But anyway, this one I love because this one obviously at some point got so ratty that my grandmother rebound it. I think she cut all the edges off and rebound it. So it's got this nice, you know, it's a modern binding, like probably from the 80s or 90s, I guess. Um, but yeah, these quilts, I shudder when I think of it. My dad still has one of my great grandmother's quilts. And I visited him twice this year and was like, would you please get that quilt off your bed? That quilt is pushing like 70 years old now and you're still sleeping under it. He loved his his grandmother's quilts. So just to answer Lee's ongoing questions about binding, just, you know, what's out there. And I realize this isn't really specific to her question, but my great grandmother, she did back to front. So you can see this is the backing on this quilt, and the binding. And so back to front, you know, it's very thin. So it yeah, you can see her little. That's how she mitered corners. It's kind of messy. But yeah, that results in like the whole bottom of this quilt is missing its binding because it's just so ratty, and that's why my grandmother rebound. Yeah. Yes.
So this one's just a big star.
Yeah, that one would be fun hung somewhere. I feel like that's like over a railing.
Okay. I do have a couple too, like downstairs that I plan to bring that aren't, you know, part of this hoard.
You know what? This one, I don't think I'm 99% sure my great grandmother did not make this. I think my grandmother collected this. This one's got a pretty backing too. This is a back to front. These are all mid 20th century. I think this is probably 40s or 50s. This one would be probably no earlier than the 60s, but like maybe early 60s, but I think a lot of these fabrics are from the 50s. They're, you know, just various, probably clothing fabrics and things. So that, you know, farm women, mid-century, seems like they were doing back to front. Oh gosh, I'm looking at this. What does Pam Weeks call it? The opportunity holes.
Yeah.
Looking at these opportunity holes and seeing how bright and beautiful this fabric used to be. I don't know if you can really see it very well, but how bright that backing fabric used to be compared to what it is. And these quilts, not just the fact that my dad still has one of them on his bed and it's probably just absolute shreds. I mean, until I was probably in my teens, my grandmother would load these quilts in the car, go to the beach, and, you know, shake the sand out of them, throw them in the washing machine. Even though she collected quilts, and I have several of hers that she collected. She probably bought at auctions and stuff or in antique stores. She still believed the family quilts were for, no matter how well made they were, they were for using. And I have to say, my great grandmother, I think, was a pretty good quilter. I mean, these are just family utility quilts. This is not anything that she made to be pretty. She was a simple farm lady. She wasn't entering the fair as far as I know, but I think her piecing was very good, and the quilting is simple. It's just inner line quilting, and that's it. But let's see, what else do I have under here? This one. So this is a back to front as well. This is the eagle quilt.
Oh yeah.
This was my Christmas gift from Jill. It's it's the bottom quilt on this one rack here behind me. This is a kit quilt from at the earliest would be the 1950s. I think that this was available for a while, but it was released in the 50s. And so yeah, that's a back to front as well. And what's interesting about this one is you could buy you had to buy the backing separately. It didn't come in the kit. So I guess it was big enough that the expectation is you were going to do back to front and not do any kind of apply binding. I need to do like an official study of this quilt because like the quilting that they've done is kind of interesting. Janet says, make my dad a new one for exchange. My dad is a weirdo. He probably would be like, thank you. And if I made him a quilt, and he would put it somewhere, and then he would keep using the old one. I'd have to rustle the old one.
How about just a simple green and white Irish chain, thinking about the holidays coming up?
That might be nice. You know what I would do for stuff like that is put in a replenish pile.
I probably won't.
You probably won't replenish this. Okay. Robin's saying yes on that one.
I'll be too busy. And I could hang it or fold it or whatever. But I could put it next to this red and white that has, you're not probably going to be able to see it in this light, but this has phenomenal quilting on it. Hold on.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that
really simple pattern, but the quilting is crazy.
So that's red and white because it's reading as double pink to me. But
I mean, kind of like it probably is a double pink, but like because the white, it like to me far away, it looks far more white than it does pink. I mean, red than it does pink. But it is, we would categorize it, I'm sure, as like a double pink. It just doesn't read pink to me in person.
Gotcha. Well, beside a green one, yeah. I mean, I would say even a pink and green can kind of be Christmassy, depending on if you like a pastel Christmas. Yeah, those do look very cute together. So you said you never saw these quilts? Are you sure, Mom? I mean, these quilts, I remember, maybe not this pink one, but these, absolutely. I remember lying in the back seat driving to the beach with them with these quilts. But I don't know, I did spend a lot of time at my grandparents when I would go down there in the summer and spend like 2 weeks with them. So yeah, my mom's saying nope. Well, I know growing up we had a couple of the quilts, and those must have been much later because they had a weird batting in them, and maybe it was an old blanket or something. I just have memories of those quilts. And if they're still around, they are probably absolute shreds. Because I remember my dad loved them for whatever reason. And it's funny, like telling all my family secrets here. I don't think my dad had very good memories of his grandmother. All of the stories I've heard about her, and like she died right before I was born, not long before I was born. She was not a very nice lady. Her daughters were all kind of, the ones that were still alive were all kind of grouchy, crabby, women. And my grandfather, I think, was the youngest. He had a brother, and then he had 3 sisters. And I want to say he was the youngest. Yeah, my mom says she has this thick cotton. She has one of them left. But anyway, I made the stories from my dad and from my uncle. I stayed with my uncle for a period of time before he died, when he was ill. And he would tell me stories, and they struggled with her, you know, she lived with them, when they were younger, and they just seemed to not have fond memories of her. Yet my dad like hangs on to these quilts. Or the quilt. I think it might only be one that he has, but I will tell you, Janet said make one for exchange. I will tell you the other reason why I would not make an exchange is I consider those to be kind of lost quilts, because my dad and his wife are very heavy smokers, and they smoke in their house, and literally everything in their house smells like an ashtray. So the quilt would have to be just fumigated. So I wouldn't bring them into my house. Yeah.
What do we think of this one?
Oh, that's quite striking. I like that garden maze setting.
I know, I really like it.
Don't put it out there if you're not ready to part with it.
But I can't keep them all.
Yeah, I know.
But I do really like it.
That one, the lines, the sashing and the setting, all that, everything's bold enough that I think that's a good visual.
For me.
Robin says very nice, would look good.
It's a good visual for me.
I think it's a good visual for the antique shop. I'm really interested in going to this place.
You're going.
I know. I know. But all the pictures, it looks really different than many of those, like the antique malls around here that we go to that are sort of like old, like they're old, in some cases they're like old strip mall kind of.
No, this is an old barn down to the floor.
An old barn.
So like,
yeah,
the floor on the ground level of the barn is not even. It's old, like, barn planks with knots in it, and so I would be careful.
It seems like a very cool place.
Yeah, it's neat. The one thing that isn't my favorite is, like, so the barn, I guess technically it's 3.5 stories, because the entrance you come into is like a weird ground level, half level thing. And there's nothing, like, stairs are the only option. There's no.
They don't have an elevator.
No. I don't know I don't think the structure could support one, to be honest with you. I do know that like the site is for sale, including the business, and there is a home like attached, an antique home attached to it.
Oh wow.
So, and apparently like somebody that's looking at maybe buying it, like, they're not new to this, so maybe they would have some improvements in mind. That would be my hope, but I don't know. It's been for sale for like a year.
Robin's offering that good advice. If you love it, keep it for a few more months and then revisit.
I mean,
she's probably had this for a long time going,
yeah,
I bought this to sell. That's kind of
what I've done since like 2022. And to be honest with you, like, they need to move so that I can buy more. You know, like, I have a lot of quilts, y'all. Like,
she does. She has a lot of quilts.
To the point where, like, I haven't really been buying any. I've been buying sewing tools because they're smaller. Now, this is vintage, you know, classic vintage.
See, that to me, as much as I love that, that's just as spring to me. Like you would put that out for spring.
I mean, I'm not sitting here going, I can only bring quilts that say fall.
I know that, but my point being, because you don't have like a full booth that you can just fill it up with quilts, you're having to be strategic. That's why I'm saying, like, if you want to sell quilts, I feel like your leaf peepers they're gonna be they will be drawn by these bold things, whereas that's a soft, sweet sort of. I don't know. I'm giving you my opinions.
Shut up with your logic, cake.
Don't ask for my opinion if you don't want it. I mean, like right now, every time
the ones you guys are vetoing are the ones that already have tags on them too.
Yeah, see, she's trying to push the one she doesn't have to tag. So every time you move, I see the quilt behind you. That, and yes, I know you've said it's really a collection quilt and not a inventory quilt, but that is the kind of thing, it keeps catching my eye and I'm like, oh, that burst of color, that's the thing. Like I would see that across the room and be like, I love that. That has drawn my eye, and if I have disposable income, I want that in my life.
Well, then don't you want it to be in my collection so that it's not gone?
This is true. So when my plot to bump you off and steal your collection, I'm kidding.
You know what? If you bump me off, I'm sure Sunday would be happy for someone to steal the collection, because then he doesn't have to deal with it.
Then he can fill all the rooms up with gaming, whatever it is he fills the spaces up with.
What he'd probably do is he'd probably move the bedroom up here so that he can have like the primary bedroom, or that whole floor, because my sewing room's on that floor. I can have that whole floor for gaming.
Yeah, Robin says that log cabin would be great for display. Exactly, right? That's what I'm saying. She doesn't want to let that. She's not ready to let that one go.
No, because you know something, I'm not stupid, and I know that quilt would probably fly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Robin
if I thought that I could like price it like stupidly and it would just like sit there, then I would. But I know it wouldn't sit there,
even at a high price. Yeah. So yeah, Robin says that she and I might end up fighting over that one. Yeah. So. Don't you love it when people are already planning for your demise so they can be vultures over the good junk you have?
You know what? I expect nothing less. Especially from my true friends.
Your true friends understand that your significant other is dangerous and could potentially not take care of your things. Although I have to say, he is good. He's very supportive. He understands. But you never know when you're out of the picture and you think you have no control over it anymore when we pass away. It's good to have friends that will want to take care of your things and make sure they land in a good place, and we'll fight and scrap over them versus going, yeah, we'll help you carry it to the dumpster. Like, oh, I want to save, I mean, this is an unfortunate time where, we've lost a number of people in the quilt and, the quilt study world this year. And, it's unfortunately women of a certain age are simply passing away, not living forever. So, we see we hear these stories about our, estate planning and auctions and all that stuff. And that was interesting, whatever that was.
You've seen this one.
I've seen a lot of your stuff. I mean,
oh my god, I forget what the hell do you call this. What the hell do you call this? I forget. It's when it's not. There's no poof inside.
Oh, it's like biscuits, but they're not stuffed.
Yeah. This one's more. This one's probably like 70s. Polyester bat.
Yeah, which
but
is
all
why
the ties are red and green.
Yeah, which is why it attracted me, because it's from the 70s.
Well, Stephanie, like where's that winning lottery ticket, girlfriend? This one's interesting because it's old blocks finished later.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's got like a pink for the setting, and it's got like a flannel back.
Ooh. Yeah, there's this quilt here. It's a lot of pink, but it's got some blue. Kind of has that blue. It's not the exact same fabric, but it's similar.
Mm-hmm. I'm reaching the bottom of the pile.
Robin liked that one too.
It's like you and Robin are going to be fighting a lot.
Do you have your current estimate of what's in your inventory? I remember the numbers you used to
How
quote.
many?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Oh, it's you have the the
I have
software.
my current inventory, and then I can guesstimate how many I haven't entered in here yet. Oh my. Oh, it's more than I thought. Okay. Like 500.
I know at one point it was over 400. So
Yep. What's in my inventory right now is 477.
so
I
you're
probably have about 25 that aren't in there.
gotcha. Okay. So you are at 500. You need to move some of these quilts, lady. I know I'm preaching to the
Yeah.
choir. I know.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I gotta sell this stuff.
Yep, LJ, 100%. Time to move a few great quilts. Yeah, and I am helping Jill. Like, we've both kind of been like, I really for the last year we've been heavily involved in AQSG stuff. I've been doing research. Jill's had some other stuff going on, and we both kind of like we're sitting on like inventory. Like, I have studio clear out stuff. I mean, the things I have that are sort of saleable are not the same things she has. I'm like I sell my studio extras, whereas Jill's actually dealing as a business. But I am working on helping her with a website so that her collection can get in there. So, hi, Knit and Crochet. New to our channel. We are so glad to have you here. Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
We love new friends.
I love new people. How did you hear about us, Knit and Crochet?
How'd you find us? Are you a friend of someone here, or did you find us organically? Like, that's our big question. Organic finding it's exciting because it means we're out there a little bit. So, yeah.
I'm thinking of maybe bringing this like yellow embroidery kit quilt as something on the more affordable scale. Just cute, clean, nicely put together.
They found us organically.
Ooh. Well, we hope you'll stick around and subscribe.
Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. We'll take anybody.
Tell your enemies.
I say that all the time, and it's really a joke, but
well, and Knit and Crochet, like, I don't know if you've been lurking all day or if you like literally just popped on, but what we're doing here is we are in my office. One of the things that I do in the world is I am a quilt dealer, and I deal in antique sewing tools, and I am grabbing some quilts together to set up at an antique store in Maine because Stephanie and I are involved in an organization, American Quilt Study Group, that's going to have their annual conference in Portland, Maine this year in October, and a lot of those people plan to do some antiquing in the area. So I'm putting stuff in there.
And I am supposed to be stitching, but I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here watching.
Yeah, I did start the stream out by stitching.
Yeah, we never actually stitch in the stitch part of the stitching glitch.
I mean, one time I was organizing stuff in my sewing room. Yeah. So I mean, I at least do stitching adjacent things.
Ooh, antique sewing machines.
Yep.
You're in the right place, friend. Yes, we have a lot of us are into antiques. Yeah.
Yeah, Iva, why aren't you here labeling all my stuff?
Well, I will just pop my mom on a train and you pick her up in Boston and she'll come label everything. She is good at that kind of organization. Yeah, so. Oh, a Kenmore sewing machine. Yeah, those were, gosh, there was a period for those. I think Robin probably knows a little bit more about some of the vintage and antique machines than I do.
I don't actually have a Kenmore. I when I was a little more fervent in my antique sewing machine gathering, I was like, a Kenmore's on my list, and then as I've run out of space, I've been like, oh, well, I'm out of space. So
yeah, Gosh, speaking of,
I should sell a featherweight to make space.
didn't you discover your mother after your mom passed away that she had like,
Oh
was
my
it?
God. Do you want, oh my God. I should tell that story, huh? So, okay, well, hold on. I need a bit, I'm getting a little sweaty here. I need a bit of a break, so I need to re,
Yeah, quilt folding, you guys. This is why she calls me her schlepper, because when we're together, we she often is like, "All right, get to work," and to help, because really folding quilts is a challenge. You know, it's a
yeah,
lot.
it is sweaty business, especially for women at certain times of life in the peri and menopausal.
So LJ's
Sorry, I also
asking,
had like
"Do you have more log cabins?" I think,
me.
yeah, of course she does.
Hmm.
I think yes. I mean, I really, because log cabins are also very striking. So if you've got any with like some fun settings, those might be good to consider.
Well, now we're talking about pulling quilts out.
Yeah, she's like, I just want to clean this bed off and get some of those quilts out in the world.
I wanted path of least resistance.
Now we're expecting her to actually get into her inventory to sell. Like, come on, you guys. So
I
Robin
mean,
said,
yes, there's definitely. Oh, wait. There is a collection, a quilt from my. So what happened is, in order to find those shelves, there was a table there that had collection quilts on them. So remember, I was organizing my closet in my sewing room because I was like, some of these shelves have to hold collection quilts now. So that's where those are going to move to. And going through them, I have discovered maybe one or two that I'm like, oh, I don't love this so much anymore. So there's probably one that I think you guys are going to go bananas over. Hold on one second.
see, that's always, that's the beautiful thing about dealers who also collect, because I think we've had this conversation before that sometimes some of the dealers we know that really deal in some beautiful high-end stuff, we kind of wonder sometimes, like, are they really dealers or are they collectors who sometimes just sell their stuff? That's a very striking quilt. I would run across a room to look at that. Yeah.
This was one of the first quilts I bought for my collection.
Oh, okay.
Not the first, but one of probably the first in the first 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that one.
Yeah, Robin is saying absolutely yes. She loves that one.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Robin says absolutely not.
Absolutely not. That's for Robin. Yes, LJ also says that one's fabulous. That one's good. So Robin also mentioned Kenmore sewing machines were made from the 30s to the 80s. So, yes, I
All
love.
right,
We've got a lot of brain trust going on here, and what I was gonna say is there are so many little niche areas of our general world to fall down. I mean, I've tried to fall down, and I've tried to fall down antique and vintage sewing machines, and it's not enough time in the.
I even gave you one.
Yes, you did. It was when you were like, "Hey, this is in the backseat of my car. Take it." Actually, I think you gave me 2. I don't think it was just one.
Maybe.
I think it was 2. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't let your husband know. All right, so the featherweight story.
Yes, tell the featherweight story.
So, just to give a small little bit of background for anyone that doesn't know, I didn't start quilting or get into anything involved in quilts or sewing until my mother suddenly passed in 2013, and I was 27. She actually passed 2 days before I was supposed to leave for grad school, and so I deferred my start of grad school by a semester because I had to settle her really messy estate. Fun. Make sure your affairs are in order, people. And after I had gone into her sewing room, which was in the basement of the house, it's a big room. And having worked for Joann's when I was like 16, I knew what kind of money was in that room. And she'd sewed for my whole life. And so I was like, what am I going to do with this stuff? Like, I knew about, good ways to try to liquidate it. I'd gone to sales with her, like, and I was like, oh, God, this will be so much work. And half me was, my first thought was, I'll just advertise a quilter sale and just let women go berserk in here. Like, So then I decided I'd never really had a whole lot of interest in sewing when she was alive. Maybe the odd thing here and there. I might play with liquor scraps or something a little bit, but um, I didn't know anything about sewing machines or anything other than home ec. I did, even though my millennial age, we still had home ec. Um, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this a try before I decide to liquidate it. And then I was like, well, I'm moving to North Carolina for the next 2 years. I can't like lug all this crap down there. So what I did was during that semester that I was at home dealing with lawyers, I went out and bought an AccuQuilt Go die cutter, and I took her bin of scraps. And while I was in North Carolina in my downtime, I processed all her scraps and watched like Missouri Star videos. And I was like, I could do this. Like, this seems pretty easy. And probably the reason I felt like it was easy now and not at the time was because, my mom was in the template, trace it, mark it, cut it out group, you know. This stuff was all new, and by the time she died. So I when I would come home for the summer, I found someone like in a local shop that had like a Thursday night sewing group that I went to, and they like held my hand and stuff like that. And that's how I got into that. And then the antique part was that my academic training is in religious material culture. And once you like old stuff, you just like old stuff. So it can pertain to anything else you like in the world as long as it's old. So that's how we got here. So I decide after sewing with these gals, it's at a Twin Maples quilting studio in Connecticut. They were in Danielson at the time. I think she's moved. I forget which town it is now, but it's a long armor who has a studio, and she does like open sews and classes and stuff. So I'm there with those gals. We were sewing like every Thursday night. Um, and a couple of them brought in these tiny little machines. And I was like, well, what are those? Because the machine that I was lugging around was a heavy Bernina. A 1090, it's a 1090S. So whenever those came out, it still has metal to it, It's not a newer plastic one. So it's heavy, and it's clunky, and I mean I love it. Don't get me wrong, that's my most modern machine. But I'm like, wow, these little machines are really cute, and they're light, and like, tell me about this thing. So the girls are telling me all about featherweights, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like that, I want one, and I mean, like, it's old and it's cool, and I mean, come on, like, why did they stop making machines black? Like, that's sexy. So I'm like, I'm gonna get one, and I'm farting around in an antique store one day, and I just happened to see one fully refurbished, like, has had its tune up and everything. And it was at a pretty average price at the time. I want to say maybe 275 or something. It's quite some years ago. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to buy it. It's going to be so great. And I did. I bring it home. And remember, her sewing room is in the basement. So I have obviously commandeered her sewing room at this point. And bring it down. I'm like, I open it up all on the floor, and I'm like playing with it and stuff. And for some reason, I went into like the utility side of the basement for something. I have no idea what. But I'm just like walking by, and it's one of those things. Once you see a featherweight case, you you will never ever mistake it for anything else.
It's like Punch Buggy, right?
Yeah. So I'm just like walking by these shelves in the basement, and like on the bottom shelf, I'm like, what is that? What is that? And there's two of them. And I was just like, are you effing kidding me right now? So I pulled them out. And keep in mind, my mom did not collect antique machines. She had a treadle like in our living room that was purely decoration that I found in an antique store and was just like, hey, this is cool. Like, it's not something that was used. And then I bought her another antique machine that was like junk, like just as decoration. One time. It was like $5 at a yard sale. And Like, I don't ever remember her talking about, and she didn't have multiple machines. Like, I think she had two.
So at some point,
And
your mother had gotten two featherweights and squirreled them away
yeah,
without.
and did it under my nose. Like, I was like, how did that happen? Because normally if it was something, antique or something like that, and I know that like they're vintage, but she would tell me about it. Even though it's sewing and I wasn't into sewing, she'd still be like, "Oh my God, look at that." So I opened them up. Not only was it another 221, she also bought the 222. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting there and I'm like, Daff, like, I now have three.
And one of them you had to pay a bunch of money for.
Yeah, and I don't know what 222s are worth right now. At the time, it was like $2,000. And I've probably had the machines 10 years now. So I don't know what that market's doing right now. But
Yeah, I haven't paid much attention to it, but I mean, I know my mom traded in one she had and got one that was the year of her birth. And it took completely refurbished, like almost like brand new. And that's a little bit of money.
that's the one thing I haven't checked is I haven't checked the serial on either of them to see if they're the year of her birth or not. They could be. She never used either one of them.
I have to say, they make a nice stitch.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then after that, I ended up with at least two more black ones. One, I was just farting around a marketplace one day, and someone had a featherweight for like $75. And like the rule is, if you see a cheap featherweight, you buy a cheap featherweight because someone that's looking for one. You know what I mean? Yes. So, I saved that one because they were gonna throw it in the trash. Oh good, they're still high. Cool.
Yeah.
Featherweight is selling a rare one.
The Chicago badged one went for over $6,000. Yeah, those badged ones, those special edition ones, those are yeah.
Yeah, I don't keep up with the market anymore. But then I ended up with another one because I wanted a featherweight table. And there was a woman on Marketplace selling a table, but you had to buy the machine with it. But I'm going to tell you, the cost of the machine and the table together were less than those tables are worth alone. So I was like, well, I guess we're buying another featherweight. And then since then I've also bought a white one.
So have you gotten rid of any of them? You have them all still, right?
Yeah, I
so
have
is that like what?
Any,
is that 6 or 7?
At least 6. Yeah, okay. At least 6.
So
who knows? There could be another one in there. I do. A girlfriend of mine, when she often comes into town from Ohio to go retreating with me here, and she borrows one when she's in town. But that's why I said, like, yeah, I really need to probably like sell a featherweight because like I don't need all of these. The only one at this point that I would still consider buying is a tan one. I have a white one. I don't have a tan.
Yeah, the white one, and then there's a greenish colored one, and I can't remember. I want to say like the white and the green. Were those manufactured? I want to say in the UK or Canada. They weren't U.S. standard, so they're really collectible. Yeah, I may have the details wrong, but yeah. And then those, like Janet's mentioned, those badged ones. Those are really.
The white one too was another one of those scenarios where I was farting around on Marketplace and it was like stupid cheap, and it was some guy selling it in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is like the cutest place ever. I would totally live there if it wasn't $1 million. And I was literally, Portsmouth is like 45 minutes away, but I think at the time for wherever I was like an hour or something. But I was like, I can come right now. Oh my God, can I come right now? I want to come right now. I've got cash. Can I come right now? Oh my God, I want to come right now. Because I was worried someone else was going to message him and be like, dude, this thing is worth a lot more money. I'll give you double,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Janet and my mom confirmed that those off-colored ones were UK and Scotland. And I could be totally wrong, but I feel like it had something to do with, I don't think it was just for novelty. I think there was some reason why they had those colors not black. I don't.
Well, the white one is also just a smidge smaller
Is it?
than the black one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's my mother's featherweight and her newer one that she traded in for. I love them. I was at her house, and if she has it out on the table, she's been sewing, and I'm just, oh, they're so cute. I love it. And I've sewn a couple of times with it, and they're just fabulous. I just have to say, like, not for me, because it's one of those things, like, it's a very expensive hobby, the featherweights, just at machines in general. You can buy junkers for nothing if you're willing and able to fix them up, but just as like a gotta that put the Pokemon mindset, gotta have them all. I have the Pokemon mindset on other things. I can't do the machines.
Yeah,
so.
luckily I don't collect. I haven't been collecting machines anymore because they just I still have a ton. Like I've got two 301s. I've got a Spartan. I have some more older ones like Wilcox and Gibbs and stuff like that.
I have a
couple
Wilcox
more,
and
like,
Gibbs.
hand cranks.
Yeah, I have I think is it two hand cranks or one, and I have a Wilcox and Gibbs that's in rough shape. I got it for like less than $100 at auction, but yeah. So yeah, Janet and my mom both said made later, and Janet said there were newer ones. They did some cost cutting with attached foot pedal. Yeah.
What was that machine that you brought to the Mid-Atlantic Antiques Festival that you had like a stupid price on?
Yes, it was my FU price, because it's like I spent too much money on it. I really need to sell it. It's the one machine. Well, I don't want to say that. It's not the one machine. I've refurbished like 3 or 4 machines. But it was the one that is the oldest, and it's a hand crank. It's just a Singer, but it was a Canadian Singer. And it has this, the beautiful bentwood box, top for it, and the ends of it are like this hand carved, like kind of tree of life pattern. I suspect the box is actually worth more than the machine, because I think that it's the case. The box is rarer than the machine itself. I think, I can't remember how much I paid for it. The woman who owned it, her mother had owned it new. So she had like the full history of it. She'd learned how to sew on it. So I was kind of like, but yeah, I can't remember how. I don't think I had such a terrible price. I think I put $600 on it just because of the box.
Well, right, but I remember you saying like, I don't really want to sell it,
but if somebody would give me
pay this price, I'll carry it to the car.
Yeah, if they're willing to give me that much money. Yeah. 600.
You did have some people interested.
Yeah, we actually, yes, there was a couple that they were there twice, and I was just like, and then they didn't come back. I was like, oh. Yeah. So
that was a fun trip, wasn't it?
Pouring rain.
It wasn't pouring rain, Stephanie. It was a monsoon.
It was. So what we're talking about, for those of you who've never heard the story, it was the first time Jill and I met in person. We've been friends for some time online, and calling and talking.
Was that the first time?
Yeah, that we were actually in person. Yeah, because
oh my God! And now I have to look at your face all the time.
In any event, so this was the Mid-Atlantic Antiques Market that it happens down in it's in Maryland, but it's like in sort of
Poolsville?
Poolsville. It's like southern Maryland. It's kind of the Shishi, Montgomery County horse country. Anyway, the woman that puts it on had originally contacted Stella Rubin, who is a Southern Maryland / DC based quilt dealer. She's been around for a very long time. Her name is very well known. And Stella, I mean, it is at a point where she's like, I'm very selective. I'm getting too old. I'd rather just, get people to contact me if they want to quilt. I don't like to go out anymore. So this woman, instead then of saying, well, Stella, who would you recommend? She goes searching and finds Jill and says, oh, this person sounds good. And Jill's like, what? Stella was your first choice and I'm your second? What?
Yeah. I was like, I have to say, so the woman who runs it, it's her property. Her name's, oh my God, Joy?
Yes.
Joy?
Yeah, I think it's Joy. Yeah.
She was delightful.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady.
I told her, I'm like, this is the first show I've ever done, and you've ruined me for all other show promoters because the bar is so high.
Yeah, she's really good. I really like her. But
yeah, she was so wonderful to us. And when she called me to discuss, what things are or whatever, I'd not done a show before. I hadn't, so that was what, March 2023? I'd only opened up shop at the end of
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah, you were just brand
Yeah.
new.
Um, and I, I, I said to her, I'm like, well, I was like, I'm brand new here, in my dealingness. And like, if you were going after Stella Rubin, like, we don't even exist on the same planet at this point in time. So like, I just full disclosure, like, I am brand new. So if you wanted someone like really seasoned, I'm probably not your person. And she was like, no, I think that's so great. You like, we need to
Mm-hmm.
support younger dealers here. And like, I fully support you. And like, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had bought like a 10 by 10, outdoor booth. She had like some structures on her property, but then other people were setting up like tents and things like that. And we arrived there in a monsoon. Stephanie was getting over the flu.
Oh no, it wasn't the flu. I had norovirus.
It
That
was
was
norovirus?
yes.
I can remember.
I had norovirus and like could not get over it for like a week, and I was like, I don't know if I could drag my dead and dying body to help because I was so sick. Oh. And yeah, so I was just like almost like the very first day that I had a little pep in my step. And yes, me and your significant other, you were trying to hammer stakes down on this little tent. And it's like buckets of rain are being poured from the sky. Like, I remember at one point, I'm down trying to tent screw some stuff in, and it's just this torrent of rain is coming down my back like a downspout. Like, I was soaked from like the crown of my head to my toes. It was.
And this was the day that everyone was supposed to be setting up. And Joy comes by, and I'm like, I can't put quilts out in this. So we're talking like, can we come at like 6 a.m. the next morning to put, because there's nothing I can do. Like, I cannot put quilts out in this weather.
No.
And then my tent starts to like fall apart. Like, it starts to make very clear indications that it is not going to survive this weather. And actually, the guy's tent next to me, his tent did not survive the weather. Like, he came the next morning and his tent was like destroyed. And I had said to Stephanie, I'm like, oh my God, if that was me, I would have just like been like, okay, bye.
Yep.
Yep. So she was like, well, I'll put you in my greenhouse then. And we walk over to this greenhouse. There was a friend of hers that was going to be setting up in there who sells just flowers. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. And she was just delightful. And she was like, oh my God, of course I'll share this space with you. So I actually ended up with a bigger space and covered. The only thing that sucked was it was a little warm the days of selling. And also, she never anticipated having people in there, so it wasn't advertised that there were people in there.
Yeah, so yeah,
there
people
were
would
people
miss
that came
us.
in, but we kind of, there were a lot of people that walked by not even knowing there were dealers in there. So that was a bit of a bummer, but and I don't even remember now off the top of my head. I don't think I broke even. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Yeah, I can't remember. Like, with all your travel and having to plan all the stuff for the setup, like you sold some quilts, like, and you sold one of your big like
I saw yes I made oh my God, I forgot. So
that was another like
yeah, the nice thing about, actually, I can pull up the video if you want. The nice thing about being in this quilt hoop house is we had a great place to hang a quilt, like a really great place to hang a quilt. And I had brought this really amazing quilts, and it sold before the show even opened.
And Jill's significant other and I, and remember, I'm getting over an illness, so I'm kind of like, we're standing in our tippy toes, like trying to, and there was she had a ladder for us, but anyway, we're standing up there. We finally get it up there, and we're like, and I'm thinking to myself, of course, I want Jill to be successful here, but I also think, please don't sell this quilt because I don't want to have to put another one up. And the guy walks in. I mean, I kid you not. I think Sunday was putting the ladder away or something. We were literally walking away from having just hung this quilt. And the guy's like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take it. Do you want me to write you a check? Do you want cash? And I was like...
And it was also, I also think it was, if it wasn't the most expensive, it was one of the most expensive.
We ended up
quilts
putting
I
up
had.
that chintz, that unwashed glazed chintz quilt, I think is what we
That
put
was
up after.
signed and dated on the back, 1840 something.
Yeah. So then we put that one up. Yeah. So, and then my mom just reminded me, she didn't go up there. I want to say she bought a quilt from you.
Yeah.
From there.
You sent her pictures.
Yeah, and I sent pictures. I don't even remember what the quilt was, because she's bought a couple quilts from you.
And then I think it was a applique, if I remember correctly. Probably a kit quilt, I think. And you also left, I think, with 2.
Yes, they are stars of my collection. They are 70s kit quilts, but they are sister quilts. Yeah.
Yeah, so the second day or even the first day we're there, and I also had like tables of quilts, and Stephanie's helping me like fold them and kind of place them, and you got to be careful if Stephanie's going to come help you with this, because she can't go into the tunnel vision of like, okay, just fold the quilt and this looks pretty here and this looks pretty here. She's like, oh, what's this? oh look at this one, and I'm over here like, fold, place, and she's, oh, look at this one. And I was just like, fold the quilt, Stephanie. Just
see, this is the problem with, she loves to have me as the schlepper because I love quilts and I will help, but you really need to have a schlepper who is driven to help but could not give a crap about the quilts, because they will fold in place. You get somebody who has the love of quilts, it's not gonna
yeah,
happen.
Steph has to look at everything. And then it started raining too when we packed up, but luckily I was able to back my car right up to the door of the hoop house, and I opened my trunk and I just had Sunday and Steph just feeding me quilts that went in. And I brought like 50 quilts
in the trunk of a Subaru Outback. See, Robin would do the same thing. Yeah.
No, that was actually, honey, that was my Subaru sedan. Sunday had the Outback with furniture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've bought one with a beard guard. That's right.
That's right.
It was actually, what is it, a Drunkard's Path, Iva? White and green?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I think, I'm trying to remember, Mom, did you take it to, was it your guild? I can't remember. She took it somewhere, and like people were surprised. They had never heard of a beard guard on a quilt. They didn't know what that was. And I was like, oh, what a great learning experience, 50 quilts is a 6-hour quilt show. Indeed!
Okay, let me...
Oh, I missed Janet's comment about a hand crank. Okay, so the lady got it from her friend who had taken it to Africa and back. That's wild. Yeah, and that's interesting in developing nations. Like, those hand cranks are... I know in India and some of the villages and also in Africa, because, electricity is not as reliable and consistent, and for them to keep doing like manufacturing work, those hand cranks are very popular in places like that. And they have some cute ones. They have some smaller ones that I'm like, it's like a hand crank featherweight almost. Like, Oh, dear. Dedicated quilters. Yes, dedicated quilters cannot be trusted to do things quickly when it comes to schlepping quilts, because we have to stop and look.
All right, you ready? Are you seeing this?
I am seeing, yes. I think you just haven't hit play yet, so yeah.
Yep. Okay, I've got sound too, so. Stephanie made this video.
I totally forgot about this.
There's the doom and gloom. This was after the big storm.
There were farm animals in the distance.
You're so obsessed with these little things.
Oh, I love that. You know, I have one of those, and I've been thinking about painting it. My grandmother had it.
Unassuming hand.
I had totally forgot about this video.
There's one of the quilts. Molly bought that one, I think.
Yeah, is that the funky, that really funky one?
Yeah. There's Iva's.
Ah, yep,
Like
that green, yep.
Dunker's path.
Oh, I forgot about that circles quilt. I love that one too.
I still have that. You just saw that one.
Oh, I forgot about this weird one.
There's the log cabin. That's the one I just showed you. Oh, that's the one that lady bought and turned into a coat.
The little animals one I love. The little cats and dogs.
That one I ended up donating to AQSG Virtual Summoner.
That's right.
And these were some other vendors.
There's that chintz.
And then I will
You know,
stop
I don't
sharing.
remember. I didn't remember that video being that long. I can't even remember how I made it. Like, if I made it in Premiere or not.
And it was your first like foray into video making.
My
I'm
weird
trying to
hands out
find.
there, like.
I know. I'm just looking.
Thing that makes me go.
My. Sorry. I know that there exists a photo of that quilt that sold.
Well, I think it was in the beginning of the video, wasn't it?
No,
That wasn't it. That
that
was
was
hanging.
no, no. That
Oh.
was an English medallion quilt that I still have. That
Oh.
we
Okay.
replaced. Um.
I'm done with my coffee.
Oh, actually, and looking at my page too, I just discovered a log cabin quilt that's still in my possessione that I can bring.
Log cabin. I think LJ's onto something there.
Me to...
Oh, Janet, don't you wish like all of the things could talk? The old sewing machines, the quilts. My gosh, if you could just tap into the stories, you know, uncover people's lives and things. That's the stuff that like really gets me. You know, when you have information about the history, or at least a little nugget that you can kind of chase down.
I like nuggets. Wow, I'm going back into all these photos. Steph, you have quite a few quilts from me.
Just a few.
Yeah, just a few.
Well, there's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you've been a It's a nice way of putting it. You've peer pressured me into a lot of sunbonnet suits.
I mean, just weird ones.
Yeah, it's you know, it's one of those things like your drug dealer knows what you like.
Yeah, and to be fair, I have not. Oh, there it is. Okay.
An enabler, yes, LJ, that's a nice way of putting it.
I have not. I have not brought a quilt to you in quite a while.
Well, yes, I've tried not to call you like the pusher. Actually, I want to say the last quilt was my Christmas present, so it's going on a year.
Well, and that was you were looking at those for research, but yeah. So here is the quilt.
Okay, you know, it looks nothing like I remember. I absolutely did not remember that quilt looked like that.
Yeah.
It was a really pretty quilt, though.
Yeah. I'm actually like,
Kind of miss it.
even though I sold it for more than triple what I paid for
Yeah, I was
it.
gonna say you put an FU price on it, and
Well, looking at it now, I'm like, I probably could have sold that for like double my asking price.
yeah, you think so?
Knowing what I know now. But again, these are my super baby days. I was probably what, 4 months in at this point. Um, but yeah, I probably easily could have sold it for double what I listed it as.
And where did you get that? Did you just get that from like antiquing, picking? Do you remember where you
Yeah, I
found
think
it?
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it was just a happenstance. Oh, look at this. But yeah, it was so cool. And even still, I'm like, oh,
Yeah. LJ said he knew
that could
value
have
when he
lived.
saw
That
it.
could have lived in my collection a little while longer. But you can even see when I took this picture, it was after it sold because you can see the English medallion quilt sitting right here, getting
Yeah.
ready to be
My guess
hung.
was you were like, well, dang, I guess I better take a picture of it before we take it down. So yeah, we had just hung it. The guy had just bought it, and I'm standing there in the background like, Sunday and I have to hang another quilt.
Yeah, so actually now remembering that I sold this quilt on top of some other things, I feel like maybe I just broke even on that trip.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like you did sell a few, and then my mom and I bought some more. And yeah, and that ended up like with all of your travel costs. I think you guys got an Airbnb. I was supposed to stay with you, but my illness.
Well,
I
and
was like,
remember
I better go
too,
back home and
on the
yeah.
way down, I stopped in Adamstown, Pennsylvania,
You
and
did,
and
yes.
shopped.
You had some quilts you bought there on your way down that you put out for sale. Yeah.
Mhm.
Aw. Yes, it seems so long ago, but also just like yesterday.
Memories like
Exactly.
the corners of my mind. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was an interesting trip. Needless to say, I have not jumped on doing another show since
Shows are
then.
difficult, and like more power to the people that do them. I kind of on a little bit of a tangent. I used to do some lectures for the Midwest Craft Guild, like, or Midwest Craft convention, not guild, convention. I don't think they're putting that on anymore, but there was a woman I met through there, and I'm still in contact with her, and I've bought a few little things from her. She's more crafty stuff, but cause she'll go and buy like tons of like old sweaters and dishcloths and just stuff like that, and she remakes things. So she makes tote bags
Mhm.
and cute little things like little hairbrush. Like it's one of those things. She buys all this antique stuff, and she doesn't generally. I don't think that I've seen her kill any quilts, but it's
Mhm.
just kind of vintage and antique things, and she upcycles, and she like the whole idea of using everything of the pig but the oink. She gets like all of her little scraps and things she will use until smaller and smaller and smaller. So she'll make like stuffed animals with a felted sweater, and then she'll take the
Mhm.
scraps from that and make pin cushions, and then she takes the scraps from the pin cushions and makes like little hair barrettes or little magnets. Like she's brilliant, but she does so many shows, and I want to see her kids now. They were probably like late middle school, early high school, like during the pandemic. Because I know at one point she did this, like, she made these little stuffed animals that were specifically as fundraisers for her daughter for a trip, and then the trip got canceled because of COVID. I felt so bad for her. I bought one of the stuffed animals, but I look at I follow her on Instagram, and I look at what she does. She had a little brick and mortar space for a while, and then she does all of these shows, and I'm just like, that's exhausting. How does she do it? I guess she just loves it so much, and she just makes these really cute displays. Um, but yeah, shows are really hard, and I mean, it's like you have chosen not to do more because of the effort and the return on investment, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, at least right now. I was
Yeah.
asking who you're talking about.
I don't know if you remember her mom. You probably met her. She's Purple Pincushion is her Instagram name. Her name is Sarah. I can't remember her last name off the top of my head, but I know she was in my lectures, and really sweet lady. So you probably follow her on Instagram. You might not be placing her right now, but anyway. So I just realized it is a little after 5 our time. And you know
Hmm.
what? My husband's bowl of shit I need to cook is calling. It's good.
Yeah, I
It's
need to
something
decide
with
what the hell
rice.
I need to decide what I'm gonna go get myself. The world
We
is
never
my
we
oyster.
never solved that problem for you. We named all of the chicken joints. We've named pizza and Chinese.
And a burger.
Oh, and burgers, yes.
Dude, I do love a burger.
A cheeseburger
But I
every now and
also,
then is good for you.
oh man, I love a burger.
Oh, Robin says her Stephanie is on her way home with some port of subs for lunch. I'm not sure I know of that. Is that like a local place
I
or?
do not. I mean, I love me a good sandwich too.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes every now and then, like, just for lack of something even faster, we will get subs from Wawa. And I know
I don't have Wawa here.
Wawa's not nationwide. Wawa is okay. She says like Subway. Okay, so Wawa is probably New Jersey South. Um, and I feel like by the time you get to North Carolina, there's not as many. So they're very like mid-Atlantic kind of, but it's a convenience
Yeah,
store.
I only see them in Pennsylvania
Yeah,
really.
convenience store, gas station. They're originally from the Philadelphia area, like Philadelphia, southern New Jersey, but they have a pretty good sandwich game. Sheets is another one that I think is good around here. They're more of southern
Yeah, I don't have sheets
sort
here.
of, yeah. Um, they're good places, and they have.
We do not put a lot of stake into our gas
Oh yeah,
stations
because
in the New England area.
Massachusetts still has that. You don't pump your own gas, which is crazy. Like it's New Jersey and
No, no,
Massachusetts,
we
right?
put no. It's New Jersey. We
Oh,
pump our gas.
I thought Massachusetts, but don't you have but you do have some gas stations though, aren't? Don't you have some?
Super rare.
Oh, okay.
Full
Okay.
service, super rare here now. It's New Jersey where it's their law.
Yeah,
You can't.
this makes me crazy. Like, can I just get out and pump my own gas? I don't have time to wait on you.
To be honest with you, there is a full serve around here, and Sunday and I will purposely drive to it because while it's full serve, it also happens to be the cheapest gas in the area.
Interesting. That is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marianne's voting a cheeseburger, fries, and yeah, some Five Guys.
I feel like, yeah, I'm feeling the cheeseburger myself. I haven't had a good cheeseburger in a while, and I don't think I have ingredients to make a cheeseburger. But
Well, and I think if I'm gonna do that, like I'm gonna go full tilt. I'm gonna go get like Five Guys, like not McDonald's, you know.
Oh no, I think if you're gonna do a cheeseburger and fries, you need to like a little more upscale. That would be the Five Guys. I'm trying to think what else. What other? Oh, Druid, leftover fajitas. Fajitas.
I could go get fajitas.
Oh, thanks for adding something else to the decision.
We have a really good Mexican restaurant here, like really good.
You know, my favorite fajitas were Carlos O'Kelly's, and I don't know. Does Carlos O'Kelly's? I don't know if that. It's a chain,
Never
definitely.
Never
but
heard of it.
I think it's probably super regional. I won't tell you what I once heard my dad call it. It's not a nice word, but it was funny. But yeah, they were like it's Mexican, but also O'Kelly's, that part of it, they'd have like they put this Irish spin on things. So like they had Irish nachos, which were potatoes with nacho toppings. But they had the best fajitas. So Druid makes fajitas every week. Yeah, you know, honestly, peppers, onions, tortillas, when you have, if you do meat or tofu or beans or whatever, stuff. Peppers and onions fried in a pan, they definitely improve a lot of foods. And are good by themselves as well. 2 thumbs up.
And I mean, and once you add cheese
makes everything good. As does bacon.
Yeah, now I'm like, who can I call to go to the Mexican restaurant?
Oh, that's right, because Sunday's not home.
Yep.
I'm still, you know, fajitas are feeling, yes. I'm feeling that fajitas are, oh, Janice says, bacon, egg, and cheese and English muffins calling. I'm going to vote. All of this sounds delicious. I'm voting for the cheeseburger, though. I'm thinking tomorrow we might have to have cheeseburgers.
Janet says cheese is life. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I loved, you know, I'm having cheese, like, and also with you. Like, that's gonna be like our new,
yes,
our new prayer.
You're not allowed to be a quilt nerd if you don't like cheese. Yes. Yeah, Druid, absolutely right. Those are the things. Those are good to have in your pantry and stocked in your fridge. Those are kind of our. Those are the sort of things that you can make breakfast with. Those things you can make. You know, tacos and burritos and things with those things, and those are always good staples. All right, I'm gonna go. My tummy's grumbling.
Yep, it's time for food.
It's time. Thank you for joining us today, guys. I feel like we had a fun one. We always devolve into food. I'm sorry. It just happens. We did some AI at the top of the show.
I don't know about you, but I was quite productive. So
yeah, I was not, but
I have found half a bed.
Yes, your house guests are going to be happy. They can at least have half of the bed.
Well, you know, and I'm kind of using this all to my advantage, because while this bed does have a box spring right now, it's a bed and box spring like on a floor, because I don't know what happened to my frame for it. Like, I have no idea what happened to it. But I was thinking about getting a frame, and then I can lose the box spring. Because of those new frames, you don't use a box spring on them. And then I can store stuff under the bed.
Good idea.
Oh.
Well, everybody's saying goodbye. Robin's got food coming. I think Druid's also like, time to go, guys. And my mom says goodbye, her lovelies. So we love you guys.
Thanks for coming and hanging out.
Yeah, everybody, thank you for coming. We had a nice, good big group today. So we're so glad that you're here. And we had a organic new friend. I hope they'll come back. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. And if you follow my show, I'll see you on Monday.
Bye. Later.
Bye, guys.